NUFC Early Night News with Gary DeJordy Yum Yum, Andrew Bokey, Christina Cage, and Derek the Mighty Wind. Weekdays from 8 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. USA. NUFC Talk.
Hello everybody and welcome back to NUFC Talk TV, the 8 or 802 news if you've got me working for you, because I cannot keep track of time. Yes, I'm Michael Grameslow, and this evening I'm joined by the Mighty Wind, Sean and Buggy. How is it going, gents?
Well, it's going peculiarly today, isn't it, with all the news that was hitting us regarding the stadium and stuff, but I don't know that any of it makes a lot of difference, to be honest, but no doubt we are going to get into that. But I'm fine, thank you. Always well after a win, as you know.
Oh, yes. How are you, Buggy? You good?
Good. Lots of news today, wasn't there? So, plenty to get into the night.
Absolutely. Finish off, Sean. You all right, good?
I'm
You're
good,
good, bud?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Good. So, as the lads have already touched on, tonight we're going to be discussing a story that on the surface kind of just sounds like a property purchase. But for Newcastle fans, some are viewing it as the biggest long-term development we've seen so far, and others, as you might have heard from Win, may not think it makes a lot of difference. That's what we're going to get into tonight, and we'll end up coming to the conclusion of, are Newcastle United finally prepared to get things done? Newcastle so for the news is Newcastle have confirmed the purchase of a significant portion of Leazes Terrace, the historic Grade 1 listed buildings sitting right next to St James's Park that have caused many a headache for those who have discussed expansions over the years. Now, if you've followed the situation closely, you'll know exactly why some people are getting carried away. And if you know about Grade 1 listed buildings and how they work, you'll understand why a lot of people are thinking, yeah, this maybe isn't too much about it. But the one thing that's always come up in these conversations is Leazes Terrace. Historic, protected, listed, and one of the biggest physical and planning obstacles around the current stadium. And now we own, well, most of it. So what does it mean? Chat, I want you to get in first and just let us know what your thoughts are. Is this going to help us expand St James's Park, build something new, or really not do too much at all? But Win, I'll start with you for the first question for the panel. When the news broke, Newcastle United buying Leazes Terrace, was your immediate reaction, oh, this isn't going to do too much, or was it something you thought of when you looked deeper into it?
No. It can't be anything but a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, for the time being, forget about the planning. It would be pointless getting the planning if you couldn't buy the land. So that's one obstacle out of the way. But I never foresaw that as being a problem anyway. Really, it still means that the planning objections need to be overcome, and unlike the thumbnail for this particular program, which shows me shedding tears about my beloved Leazes Terrace, anyone who's watched this show and listened to me for any length of time going back to Sir John Hall's days will know that I have said from day one we should just show our muscle as a club and say, look, either knock it down or we're going out of town. And I think that threat would be sufficient to, shall we say, concentrate a few minds, if nothing else.
What do you think on that, Bogey? Do you think it would have been enough?
Well, obviously we've got to protect Grade 1 listed buildings as the first thing, so I think it's important to say, we'll have to do that. In regards to Leazes Terrace, so I mean, is it really that significant? I think it's just the fascia, if I'm right, Win, isn't it? That's actually protected, not the backs of the buildings.
It goes down to when it was part of Granger Town. It was designed by I think it was actually designed by, have Clayton Street and Granger
Win,
Street.
can you turn your mic up a little? I'm struggling. I've just seen in the chat as well. I didn't know if it was just me, but I'm struggling to hear you as well.
Is that any better?
That's better.
Right. I'll just have to stay closer to the mic. My bad. Apologies, everyone, if you can't hear. Hope you can hear me now. Yeah, as I say, it's one of numerous buildings, 182 Grade 1 listed buildings in Newcastle, Grade 1, Grade 2 listed buildings in Newcastle. And as again I've said many times, it's probably the least seen and visited than any of the other ones, which are all in Clayton Street, Granger Street. The only people who see that are the match-going public, which is a lot of people, obviously, on whatever, 25 days a year, and the people who live in it. And they are, by and large, students and professors, postgrads at at Newcastle University, who have the leases on a lot of the actual individual properties.
Yeah.
So, it's just. I think it's one of many that we've got. You can walk down Grey Street and see 20 of them,
I think it's future-proofing, isn't it, basically what the club are doing. I know a lot of channels have come out the day and saying, they're extending St James's Park and everything's going to... This doesn't prove they're extending St James's Park. This is them as a business giving themselves the most amount of options they can. So, it's a clever purchase. It might mean that we'll keep St James's Park, but I don't think you can read that much into it in regards to it definitely being now we're staying there. It's certainly not that in my view.
There's a lot of options for it. And just before we go deeper into it, was it there with a super chat saying, was it looking more, we'll say lovely, by the day, Bogey lad.
You know who had hunt down first, was I?
Think I've got an idea.
You're on the hit list, was.
And also, just for those paying attention, mentioned in the chat there from Brian Penny as well, Bournemouth have gone 1-0 up against Manchester City, which could be massive for, what happens at the weekend. But back on to Leazes Terrace. Sean, what were your thoughts on it when it was announced, Matt?
See, I think it's the club are trying to put out news to try and get the fans behind us, aren't we, as well? But it's not much to dive into, is there, really? If we're going to extend them fair dues, but we've got to protect them Grade 1 buildings. But if we're going to keep St James's and build a new stadium, I would like to keep St James's. Maybe put the women in there. Put the women into that stadium and let them play the home games there. Put your academy, let them play there. That's what I think, but I'm not that kind of thing. But I don't know.
I don't think that's ever going to happen, to be fair.
No, but
I think the problem is the cost of the upgrade. The cost of the upkeep of doing that. You'd basically two stadiums. I get what you're saying, Sean. I completely agree, but I just think the cost would be too much for to do that. Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. No, I was just looking at that idea because, like I said, the women play at Kingston Park. Then they've gone to Gateshead Stadium, haven't they? And every time the women have played there, it's been sold out like 20,000, 30,000. People have went to watch. So that's like, but I just thought that was my crazy idea. If we were going to try and keep the club, make more money, that way. But yeah, it'll cost too much.
Yeah, it is one of those that's sort of trying to kill two birds with one stone with it. The women need somewhere permanent to play their games, which is going to be a bit bigger. Realistically, none of us want to leave St James's Park, but some believe it. We need to for the future of it. But when Newcastle released the statement, they described it as a strategic purchase linked to the long-term planning around the future of St James's Park. But they also said things that we've already discussed. No plans to change the current use of the building. It remains as student accommodation and the existing management remains in place. So very much the long-term game being played here. This isn't Newcastle United announcing that bulldozers are arriving tomorrow morning, because you can't do that to a listed building, let's be honest. But equally, clubs don't make purchases like this for no reason. Thinking years ahead, the question obviously is going to be, why did Newcastle do this? Loads of potential reasons you could think of. The four most popular in fans' minds at the minute are getting control over the East Stand, future-proofing the area, controlling the land around the stadium, preventing other owners of land becoming problems later on. A lot of people want to support the expansion talks, as we're saying, and there's even the potential for hotel and hospitality use in a wider stadium campus sort of thing. And the Magpies in there saying, I still think we'll build a new stadium in Leazes Park, and that Leazes Terrace will become a hotel in use for hospitality, restaurants, etc. It's great future planning by the club, and that's exactly what I was just about to get to with that last point there. Hotel and hospitality use. Yeah, go on, Matt.
On that, Michael, if they do move the stadium to Leazes Park as well, it's still a shrewd investment, because obviously St James's Park, by all intent and purposes, will be ripped down, and that real estate there is going to become a lot more expensive if you're not sitting right in front of a football stadium. So,
Yeah.
However they do it, it's going to be, whatever happens with it, they can't go wrong with this investment. I think it's just a very, very shrewd piece of business, basically.
Yeah, it's a great point. I hadn't even thought of it from that prospect, to be fair. So, great point. Some other comments that we had in there. Lee McFarland's saying, hope the rent from Leazes Terrace goes into the club's petty cash tin too, or whatever I said. Brian Penny in there, Leazes Terrace to remain empty, so zero light issues, hence the revamp East Stand and the Gallagher end. And then Michael Lynn said, send the bulldozers in before Tina and the Green Party glue themselves to the wall.
Well, that's the other worrying thing, of course. The election's just gone.
Yeah.
Lib Dem took control with 25 MPs. The Greens have got 24. Labour down to 2 councillors out of 50 odd, and Reform the other 24. So it's 25 Lib Dems, 24 Greens, 24 Reform, and the also runs the couple of independents and a couple of Labours. So Greens and Lib Dems.
Let's
Typically,
not become political the night there, because
They
hold off it.
not renowned for wanting to concrete over green space or knock down listed buildings.
Yeah, to be fair, you're absolutely right. And just while we're in, Prozaic's gifted an NUFC Talk TV membership. Thank you very much, buddy. And that has gone to Maggie God. Welcome to the channel, buddy. Hope you look into renewing. I wanted to know, hope you enjoy all the content that'll come your way as a member. So, big question. Does this actually make the St James's Park expansion look like a bit more of a realistic prospect? Because some people, as you said, Bogey, have gone, right, expansion's back on, we're definitely staying. There's a whole different ball game towards it. What do you think?
I think it means that they're just keeping all their options open. You know, this deal hasn't just come out of the blue. It's obviously been released today, but there'll have been months in the planning for this sort of discussions, but especially to buy a Grade 1 listed building. It's not as easy as you think. But in regards to this, they'll the planning for the future basically. But they give, as I say, they give themselves options. And end of the day, as I say, what can they lose? They've got prime real estate in the middle of Newcastle. You know, they've paid £25 million for an area where they're never going to lose money. So, you know, it's just it's a win-win for everybody. And I don't think it's the part of the business that owns the stadium, isn't it, now that they bought this with? So I think you might find that they start buying certain bits of area around town with that and generate income as well. It's smart business. It's very, very smart business. And as I say, it's just open up a load of options for the club moving forward.
I like the idea of having it. If we do indeed move into Leazes Park, which is perfect, it means they've then got facility there for office facilities, which means that more of the internal space within the new stadium can be devoted to hospitality and money making instead of office space and the like. And it also gives the option of, hospitality within Leazes Terrace itself, allied with offices, potentially a hotel as well, right next to the ground. Again, generating income. And there's also the possibility, I mean, there are packages you can buy right now at Newcastle, which include a meal.
Yeah.
But the meal isn't actually in the stadium. You go to a restaurant down on Grey Street, I believe it is now. You have your meal at Grey Street with a club ambassador, ex-player or whatever, and then you are transported from there up to your seats in the ground. So it makes that exercise a whole lot more amenable, shall we say?
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris makes a good point, to be fair, saying you've only got half the stand at the minute that we'd actually be able to upgrade. So even if it was coming to upgrading a stand, we've only done half of the deal so far from what we've got. Lee McFarlane is saying, how can we feasibly build... We can feasibly build out the Strawberry Place side of the stadium and leave the East Stand as it is for now. Plenty of different options in there. But Cuff in there also... Sorry, go on.
The only significant expansion of the stadium you can make to the current St James's Park is by moving the East Stand backwards, making it much bigger. And
the last thing you want
done with Leazes Terrace there.
The last thing you want as well is to have different phases of the project. If you're going to do it, if you're going to extend St James's, you do it as a whole.
Yeah.
If we're not, then you move to a new stadium. You can't go in like a bit. You go through a bitty process. It'll become messy if you do it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's be honest. The last thing we want is it taking as long as Everton's did or Tottenham's felt like it did. I don't have the exact amount of time it took for those projects, but it felt like both of them took forever to get started. I feel like I was hearing about the Hill Dickinson about 6-7 years ago, to be honest.
Well,
and it was...
But strangely, if you ask a lot of Everton fans now what they think of their new home, they absolutely love it.
That's true.
It can mean
but let's
coincide with the fact
face
of having a good season, like.
But let's face it as well. Goodison Park was an absolute shithole. It wasn't like a St James's Park. It was a horrible little stadium. They moved to a miles better stadium. St James's Park is nowhere near as bad as Goodison Park was.
It was full of.
And sorry for swearing.
I think that's the nicest thing anyone said about it. When full of character.
As long as you weren't stuck behind
It was. I was going to say it was full of posts.
It was horrible, wasn't it? Half the seats in the stadium for the away fans, you couldn't see the match. It was ridiculous. But thankfully, we don't have to worry about that anymore. So sure, I'll get your thoughts on it, mate. What with the a smaller bit? I'll move on to the next bit actually, and I'll start with you first. This if we are talking expansion instead of the new Leazes Stadium, well, the Leazes Park Stadium, whatever. We know what Newcastle realistically are going to look for in 65,000. Was between 65 and 70. Would you accept you mentioned earlier you wanted to keep St James's Park for even if it meant putting it towards the Lasses, something like that. Would you accept a smaller expansion if it meant staying at St James's and keeping the culture and the history around it?
Well, yeah, obviously, going from a 52, obviously, it's got to go to at least 65. You know what I mean? It's got to go up. But, keeping the stadium there, then obviously, yeah, we'll do it in stage, but not a stage, do it in a whole one. But even if it's a small reduction to keep the historic, because that's what it is, it's a historic stadium there. It's, it's the cathedral on the hill, you know what I mean? And, losing it like an icon, but no, I agree. Maybe just extend it slowly, but if we can't and they want to build a bigger stadium, then obviously it's going to have to move, isn't it? And then what do we do with the stadium?
Exactly. A lot would have to be done, and it would effectively be a building site, but that would also mean all of the disruption around that area, as Bogey said,
Just
gone. And
Well,
that's
no, because if they take green space in Leazes Park, they have to replace that green space plus 10%. That's current planning legislation. If you build on currently designated green space, you have to replace it with a similar acreage, similar area, plus 10%. And the current stadium would affect, all you'd be doing would be relocating Leazes Park, if you like. And then it wouldn't be any problem for me, because there's only the bandstand and the balustrade, which is a listed building in the current Leazes Park. And there's no reason why that couldn't be moved to the new park at St. James, where we currently are, where St. James's Park currently sits.
just a quick point on the cathedral on the hill thing and all that as well with the stadium. Wayne, you're the one that's been a fan here the longest. How much has St. James's Park itself changed over the years? We talk about it as being like historic from like when we first began. That's the first place we played. However, it's not the same stadium we've played in. Let's face it, this is a completely different stadium to when Wynn first went to a match. It's a completely different stadium to when I first went to a match, to be perfectly honest. So, everything develops, and I think there is a little. I understand the sentiment, and I love St. James's, but I think if you want to progress as a club, sometimes you have to take bite the bullet and move on to the next big and better thing, and still have the memories of St. James's. As I say, my memories are different to what Sean's because he's a lot younger. Different to what Michael's will be because he's a lot younger. Because when I first started going as a kid, it was nothing like it is now. So it isn't. There's a little bit of sentimentally there that isn't really right, because it's not the same stadium as it was when it was first built.
Well, the cathedral on the hill, that name only started becoming sort of part of the vernacular when the new Gallagher stand was built in whatever it was, 98, 99. And prior to that, you can see St. James's Park loud and proud on the hill now from whichever approach you make to the Toon, whether it be on a train over the King Edward Bridge or over the Red Tube Bridge. Not so much the Tyne Bridge. You've got to know where to look if you're coming over the Tyne Bridge. But you could never see it before the Gallagher stand was built.
Well, it was the same height as the Gallagher bus station at some point, wasn't it? There wasn't sort of the. It's only over the past, maybe 40, 50 years? 30 years, yeah. It's actually built up to the size it is.
Even when the East Stand was built in 73, you couldn't see that.
No.
Because it's so much lower than the rest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those, to be fair. I 100% get, when it comes to the appreciation of what Newcastle United, St. James's Park was before. I don't remember it before the 98 expansion. I mean, I was only 2 when it happened, but it's one of those that for me, that's what it's always kind of been. So it makes sense what he's saying about the expansion. Obviously, I knew it happened and stuff, but I don't know a lot of the work behind it. I know there was we expanded because there was the proposed development to Leazes Park in mid-90s or something like that. Obviously, you might remember that a lot more than I did. Or I do, should I say. But for me, you do make a great point. And do you think maybe we're guilty of being a bit too sentimental at times towards what we have? And don't bring it towards Eddie Howe, Bogey.
No, I
saw the smile.
No, I honestly, I've just seen the chat going through, and you're right. It is the same plot of land. So St. James's Park's always been there, the pitch itself. But but what I was going to say was, I think sometimes you have to move on from things. This isn't about Eddie Howe. This is about the stadium. You have to move on from things, and you have to move on to the bigger stadium. And to be honest, if it's the way that we can progress as a club, surely enough, nobody can disagree with it. Surely enough, you, as I say, you've got all their memories from St. James's Park, and nobody's ever going to take them away from you. but the time's right probably for we to move on to the next level.
I agree,
I
but
think as well, what do they do with the likes of Win as well when they're doing this stadium? If they do extend the East Wing, because I'm assuming they're going to have to kick people out the seats for a while. What happens with likes of Win seat who is in the East Stand?
Yeah, Chris makes a good point at the same time of if you do the upgrade, it offers none of that commercial value unless fans lose the second season tickets, because let's be honest, they're not putting commercial seats up in the gods, are they? I know there's some on level 6 and stuff, but not going to be exactly the same on that. But it's a great point. We're going to have to at least lose some of the capacity that we have to make way for new ones, much like Liverpool recently had to. It'd be a very awkward one, nonetheless, because it's at the end of the day you're going to have people saying, "Oh well, it means I can't go to football games anymore." Selfishly, we're all going to go, "Well, actually, I'd rather get myself to more games," and I think everyone is a little bit selfish in that way. But what do you think?
If you're biting the bullet and move the stadium from St James's, the St James's is in the heart of the city, isn't it? That's where the football, it's coming. But a lot of people don't want to lose that history that's connected to that stadium. Me personally, it's not. Yes, you've had good times, but you've had really bad times. The post isn't, as I said, isn't the stadium supposed to be cursed? You know what I mean? That's what they were, that's what they were saying. Don't know if it's still. Obviously, they bring a priest in to try and get it off, but maybe moving to a new stadium is what actually we need. But
you don't win the toss. Sometimes it's an uphill battle in the second half, isn't it?
Aye, that's what it is.
Honestly, I now go, oh, Bruno's lost the toss again. If we're kicking towards the Gallagher in the first half, I do think it makes a difference.
Yeah, I will say it wasn't until I sat ground level that I actually realised how bad it is. So you notice it a little bit when you're level 3, level 4, but then when you're actually ground level, you sat there looking at the advertisement boards and going,
I was going to say, if you watch it on the television, you'll see the advertisement board slowly disappear as it goes down.
It's a bit mental, isn't it? Some of the chats we have in there, Cuff saying, the 25 million we paid doesn't count towards SCR, but any income we'll make from it does. So well done to the Rubens, who I assume were behind the deal. Every penny counts, and to be fair, if that's completely accurate, then it's a great point. This is stuff that Newcastle should be looking to do, because Chelsea do it, Villa do it. There's no reason in falling behind. Brian Penny saying 5,000 seats is the maximum into the Gallagher end at huge costs, apparently. To be fair, I feel like no matter what I've heard about whatever this is going to be, it's going to be massive costs to Newcastle. Chris is saying, if you look at the stand, we only bought the top half, and then you could rotate the ground, but that would be a completely new build. Yes, absolutely. And then, that's got through pretty much everything I wanted to in there. So, obviously, we talked about the disruption there, and you're going to lose a large. You're going to lose a large chunk of the stadium, no matter what, really, no matter what we decide to do. Is that, right now, is that disruption worth it to Newcastle United? Or is it something that maybe we should be looking at long term? Because is it the 2028 or 2030 international competition that's coming to the UK? St James's Park's one of the...
28 euros.
28 euros, I couldn't remember which one it was. So realistically, anything's got to wait until after that anyways. But it's a lot of disruption for, potentially if you expand, 333,000 a game off the top of my head in ticket sales. Because 15 would be about... But
again, it's not just ticket sales they're looking at. It's, revenue, spend, customer spend.
And I think a lot of we take it that these tickets are going to go to the everyday fans. They're not. A lot of that capacity that's going up will be commercial tickets. I mean, if you look at it now, I mean, we're selling tickets for £1,000 over, and they're getting sold out.
Yeah, true.
You know, there's the commercial side of it you've got to think of as well, which is how you make your money now. Let's face it. You know, it's the prawn sandwich eating brigade, isn't it? As Roy Keane would say, that I'll get you your money in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And do you almost fear Newcastle becoming that at times, or is it just a natural progression, do you think, Bogey?
I think it's the Man City effect that worries me. If you look at it, they still have a core of fans there, luckily. But there's a lot of the fans now have changed. You know, the Man City isn't the club that it used to be and if you listen to them as well, they've become, a lot of them have become bitter, and a lot of them have become, you know, everyone's out to get where it's the money, it's everything like that. I don't want to go down that route. I still want to enjoy going to games and, you know, enjoy moaning about the manager, enjoy moaning about the team. You know, fair enough. But I don't want to go down there. Fair enough, we'll do a little bit at the minute about the money and everything, but I don't want to just be completely focused in on that. I still want it to be Newcastle United in the football club, not Newcastle United, the company that's making money, sort of thing. That's what will happen. I mean, I'm sitting here saying that, but I know for a fact that it will end up that we'll go into that corporate world, and you know, a lot of regular season tickets holders will be priced out of the games.
Yeah, certainly the way things are going, isn't it?
It's dead simple, really, isn't it? Do you want to be part of the big boys group, or do you not?
Exactly.
And if you do,
got a lot of sacrifices.
Sadly, that is the only way to get there.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't any other alternative. Well, certainly there's none that anybody's ever said to me that I think could remotely have a chance of working.
And if we want to be like the number one club, you're going to have to do sacrifices, aren't you, to get there?
Yeah.
You're going to have to, you know. Yeah. And then obviously coming back to the Euros, it's 50-50, isn't it? Yes, as a club, we want to build to get more money coming in, but you've got to get money from the Euro because they've got to use your stadium, haven't they? So it's that, you know, it came probably at the wrong time for us as a club if you want to try and extend the stadium before the Euros.
Yeah, and I remember seeing one of the issues around the Euros for Manchester United was Old Trafford being discussed as one of the venues, but in the end they did do it because they had no idea what Man United were actually going to use it for, do with it. They couldn't give concrete information on what their plans were for Old Trafford for the future, and it's probably for the best because you don't want, you know, fans coming from all around the world, well, all around Europe to sit next to some rats, which is what it's currently like. So it's probably for the best. But for us as Newcastle United, you're completely right. We talk about you know, all of the commercial value that this could bring, and we talk a little bit about Leazes Terrace as a part of that. You know, you're not knocking it down. You're not building a stand through it. But what we really probably will do, I think, in my opinion, is integrate it into the wider Newcastle United experience. You know, as the number one club in the world, shall we say, you'd expect a hotel in and around, hospitality suites, a museum, at times restaurants, bars, corporate spaces, tours, events, a proper campus of football, because let's be honest, stadium ain't just a stadium anymore, it's a entertainment venue. Look at Spurs, and it unfortunately is the way that the football's going, but these kind of purchases are essential for that, I think, at Newcastle. Do you think corporate expansion, Newcastle's fan base, I see a lot of people who really dislike the way that the game's going and are really fearful that Newcastle are going in that direction. And, you know, hospitality growth, it's boring, but it's a necessity. Is there anything in particular you want to avoid, or you want Newcastle United to avoid when it comes to this sort of corporate game?
No, I just think if we are going to embrace the corporate game, let's do it properly. Let's be the best. Okay, you're going to pay through the nose to have your match day experience, but boy, when you have your match day experience, it's going to be an experience, and it's going to be worth every penny. And if that means I get priced out of my seat, so be it. Hard to bear. That's the law of the jungle.
They're gonna. The problem is that because it's the area we're in as well, and you know it's getting. You know, obviously we're not all sitting here wearing penniless and stuff, but we're you know it's not a particularly affluent area, the Newcastle area, and it's things like the shirts that gets me. You know, when we were kids, when I was a kid, the shirts used to change on a bi-yearly process. So one year it would be the home kit that changed, and the next season it would be the away kit, and you would get the football kit for Christmas. Now we've got 3 kits, and all 3 of them change every season. You know, how are parents in this area meant to spend spoke out? It'll probably be about 300 quid, I would think, for them kits. You know, it's just too much, and it'll happen. You know, people will go out and buy them, and you know, the corporate side will take over Newcastle. But it's just sad for the area a little bit. But this is what we all wanted for years. We all wanted to be the big club. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword. We're getting what we wanted, but sometimes what you want
doesn't suit you.
Off a little bit. I keep on getting painted as the villain and all this, but you don't have to buy 3 strips a year. You just don't have to.
That's true.
And if you get 1 strip a year for Christmas, you say to the kid, which strip do you want? And he takes his pick.
Or they take the pick because girls get strips as well.
Okay, they take
Let it be known we're all inclusive on this channel.
Yeah, I'll be Tina the night.
Yeah, to be fair, it's a great point. I mean, my personal experience of it is obviously I'm having a ban in a couple of months. I've said to me last since the start of this year, right, I'm not going in for any ballots. Stupidly, that means I've moved down from tier 2 to tier 3 in the season ticket stuff. If there was more than 200 and whatever it is, I'd be arsed. But, you know, there'll be people in that similar situation who have wanted a season ticket for 20 years. Well, I say 20 years, they were practically giving them away under Ashley at one point. But let's say 10 years, and you're sitting there going, they would be in the very similar situation. And it's annoying, it's sad, but at the end of the day, there's no room for sentimentality in football really at the moment, is there?
And on the subject of sentimentality, Europe is gradually slipping out the window. Chelsea are 1 up against Spurs.
But at the end of the day, though, it's like this, isn't it? With football shirts and trying to get tickets. Every Newcastle fan, it doesn't matter how bad we play, we're still going to support the club and put money and buy.
Oh,
so yes, people are going to want 2 or 3 shirts because of that loyalty to the club, maybe, you know. But I get Wayne, maybe only 1 shirt, you know. But there is people out there that buys loads of shirts and the replica shirts and shows them all off and dedicate it to the club, kind of thing.
I know from people I work with, literally when Adidas do a new release day, I'll hear behind me just going, well, that's 400 quid out my bank account, and I'm sitting there going, what job do you have? I work with you, how are you doing that?
But this is the thing though, right? If we sign Mbappe as an example, how many kids are going to want that shirt, even if they can't, like, the parents, they're going to be straight down there for that player.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I mean. That's why the club know exactly what they're doing when the shirts come and who the likes of Bruno.
Hey, and you can't blame the club. The club are doing the right thing. You know, if we weren't making money from it, they wouldn't be doing this. So everything they're doing is right on a commercial side to make the money. And we've all sat here
100%.
all season saying, make as much money as you can, get the money in, But as I say, there's a consequence to what we've been asking for, and the consequence is that a lot of fans are going to be priced out of the game, and I just feel sad about that. You know, you're not going to get potentially, you know, a young lad from, say, Wallsend, you know, getting taken to the match for the first time with his dad. You know, you're not going to see that anymore because they won't be able to afford it, and that's where things are changing massively.
I got the Newcastle shirt when we signed Faustino Asprilla. When he signed, my dad went straight up in the snow. Couldn't even get a bus up. He went a few times up to get it. And I tell you, he went and got it. But that's what I mean. That was the kind of... But I only got 1 shirt, like. But, you know, I got Tino in the back and, like, you know, Asprilla. How many letters is that? You know what I mean? Quite a lot. But that's what it is, isn't it? It's that kind of... you know...
No, I completely get it.
It's a local passion, isn't it? And
Yeah.
what you'll also find is the stadium will change, the atmosphere in the stadium will change. And again, that's sad because that's our identity. It always has been.
Well, I think the one thing that won't change is the away sport.
Yeah, the way sport's always been fantastic, hasn't it?
There's a great comment here by Lee McFarlane in the chat that I think you started me. VR tickets could bring a lot more money in. I watched a programme, it must be 20 years ago now, shortly after the Premier League came into existence. And there was the chairman, I think, of Sky Sport, Greg somebody, I think his name was. He was the head of Sky Sports on Sky. And he said it would just be a matter of time before supporters were paid to attend matches, because they would make so much money from live streaming the games. But football is nothing without the fans, which is why Mike Ashley gave away his 10,000 tickets, because half-empty stadiums don't look good for your product.
No.
And he said fans will get paid to go, because with the global expansion, you can have like 25 million people paying £2 a match to watch it live on the telly. And that then becomes your major income, a lot more than bums on seats. Already TV revenue is I think it's 4 times now bums on seats revenue. So
Can I just quickly ask on this? VR tickets, does that mean you sell tickets for like a 3:00 match and you can watch it at home rather than...
Yes.
Is that what that... Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
What
So
does
it'd be
VR
like the
stand for then?
virtual reality.
I'm sure. I don't quote me, but didn't that wrestling program do that? I'm sure there's a wrestling where they did it. Was someone I seen a video. I don't know. It was on, and they did it where they were literally they were like standing in the stadium, but they weren't actually in the stadium. It was like the stack, and then it literally had a big screen around. It literally looked like they were actually right next to it. I'm sure it was a wrestling.
Well, you can do that. I don't know if anybody's got an Oculus headset, VR headset, or anything like that. But you can do that with matches now. You can stand at the not live. You can't do it, but you can watch Champions League finals, and you're actually standing at the goalpost, and you decide which way you're going to look, and you'll see what's actually going on live.
Can I just ask you a quick question that as well, Win? If after 70 minutes you get up and walk out your sitting room because you don't want to watch the match anymore, do you then walk down the concourse to the ground to get home?
You just move the headset.
Just walk into the kitchen. Oh.
You walk all the way to the strawberry.
You'll not be the first time I've walked into something when I've had my VR headset on.
You've got to walk up and down the stairs in the house 20 times before you get home.
That's good. If you're a race supporter, you've got to go up and down. And the stream doesn't start till it measures your steps.
I've just walked into the strawberry pub here.
Exactly.
I just stood there in the middle of the street, just 1 pint, please, mate.
The virtual pint, aye.
No, you're completely right, by the way. I just took a look there. Yeah, WWE was selling VR tickets from some of their big events, which is absolutely mental, actually. It's a really great idea, and I had started, but I hadn't mentioned it yet because I was planning on nicking the idea, so thanks, Win.
No, if you watch the video, I'm sure when I watched the video, it just looked like like a Metro Arena where they have the barrier. It's just like that, where they were sitting, and literally they looked like they were ringside to that ring, literally. And when the wrestler came close to them, literally
I got mine during lockdown, my VR headset during lockdown, and I was well into it, I can tell you. And it was
what he's watching.
I was actually
denying it,
I was an archer. I found muscles I never knew I had. Because you've literally
I
got
bet you did.
He's not helping himself
you've
here.
got to pull the bow.
Jeez.
That's the thing. It's one of those things. I have always wanted one because it seems so surreal. I genuinely think I'd make the purchase if they did that at St James's. Well, at St James's or Newcastle doing it, where you let's say you pay. They probably would make you pay, let's be honest, 15 quid for a stream just constantly through the air, like a Netflix style sort of thing or whatever, and just say, right, here's the link. You can sit on your sofa, Oculus or VR headset, whichever one it is. I think people would do that in their droves, and I don't think it would stop many people going to the stadium either, because a lot of people still want that sort of live experience, but maybe that is the reason it hasn't done, because they're potentially worried it would kill the atmosphere.
Well, I don't think the technology is quite there yet. But
The only thing they'd have to be careful is likes of that they didn't have winners the eyes at the match, because he watches a completely different game to the rest of us. So everybody watching through VR would be watching a completely different game.
No, we all say the same stuff. It's just we analyse it differently.
See it through different eyes, yeah. So just we're talking about, say, obviously, just back to St James's. Yeah, for me, obviously, we're talking about I mentioned the atmosphere there and what VAR potentially diluting it. Some people have said in the chat the atmosphere hasn't been the same for a while, and I've felt that some of the times I've been in there, particularly when we've battered a team at St James's Park, like a smaller team. It's just kind of been like, yeah, we've kind of expected it. So I've felt that a little bit at times. You've also had the games where it's been absolutely electric. But what is it that makes St James's Park special, in your opinion, Sean? Is it the grandeur of the stadium, the location, city centre, or is it the people inside it?
It's the whole thing, isn't it? Really, the whole experience. Going up to the stadium, we're seeing the fans going up, walking into the ground. It's just buzzing. Do you know what I mean? Just looking at it. But that's what I mean. That's why I said about the heart and the soul, isn't it? It's that kind of the experience. Like you say, I've got loads of fans, and every time they come up from places, they say St James's Park's atmosphere in that stadium, it is bouncing. When that stadium's bouncing, it is terrifying for away teams when that stadium's rocking. But when that crowd's quiet, teams aren't, you know what I mean? They're like, wow, the atmosphere. That's what it is. It's the atmosphere inside the ground as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bogey Win, you were both at the game at the weekend. Brian's in there saying it was silence against West Ham at 3-0 up. Would you agree with that?
Not where I was.
It wasn't silence. It wasn't as buzzing as you'd expect it to be for the end of a season game.
Yeah,
You'd expect it to be absolute pandemonium going on, but it wasn't. There was sort of I think it was a bit more. I don't think it was silent because the fans didn't care or they were trying to get on anybody's back or anything. I think it was more just everyone taking a breath and going, "Thank God this season's over," sort of thing.
No, thank God we haven't got just a 1-0 lead.
Yeah. It's as I say, I think it was just more of a relief thing than anything else. And I think as well, when you're on about our stadium, what you've got to remember is the infrastructure around it. You go to the stadiums around the country and the things around them are the areas around them are either industrial estates or, take Sunderland, it's an absolute crap hole around there, isn't it? There's their stadium, Stadium Elite, is in the middle of Southwick, basically, isn't it? A horrible little estate. Whereas our stadium's in the middle of the city centre, you've got all the pubs, you've got all the entertainment, Yes, I think we forget sometimes how lucky we are where that stadium actually is, and that's why you don't want it really to move. If it's going to move, you don't want it to move too far.
Yeah, exactly. It needs to be close to where it is at the moment. But to be honest, it's unique in that way, isn't it? Being a city centre.
Your initial question is what is it that makes St James's Park so special?
Yeah.
And honestly, it's different things to every single person. It's because it's so much part of your psyche. If you're a Geordie, St James's Park is so much part of what and who you are.
Yeah.
And this is what people who are not from the area, sadly, will never be able to get, because they're simply not from here. They're not embedded in it, drowning in it every single day of their lives since they were born.
But as you say, when it's different times that you've grew up as well. I mean, now, even when I go to Newcastle now, I still sometimes get that little bit of a sick feeling in my stomach from the smell of hops around the around the area of St James's Park.
And it's been gone for 20 years.
It used to absolutely stink, and it always made me feel sick. But that's like a memory when you're up there, and as I say, you sort of everybody, as you say, everyone's got different memories. I think the one thing that makes St James's Park, if you're honest, is the fans. Let's be honest. We'll argue with each other, we'll get things wrong, we'll get things right. But we've got the best fans, and that's fans inside the stadium and outside. I think all the fans of Newcastle United are fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
What also helps though is we're a one city club, aren't we? Just like Sunderland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You haven't got rival like Liverpool, Everton, or Manchester, Man City, or the London clubs like the Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, West. You're a one club city. That helps. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it's to be fair, just to go to some of the stuff and the chat sitting as well. Margot T saying the atmosphere isn't special. It's only good when the big boys come to town. Maybe that's a sort of an atmosphere of New Geordies. We are, to be honest. If you've read what a lot of people say, the West Ham fans have said when they came up here, one of the things they've said is that even though they effectively went down on the day, it feels like, I mean, maybe not, Spurs losing as well, but they still felt right at home at Newcastle. I mean, I was sent a video from a pal of mine outside of Central Station of all the West Ham fans just in I think it's the Gunner Tavern.
Might have been the good, but spit and vomit normally they go in. Victoria and Comet.
Spit and vomit.
But even Tyneside Life do videos around the away fans, doesn't he? And you'll go across and speak to them, and there's never any rate, unless it's Sunderland, I suppose, but there's never sort of any animosity or anything. It's always sort of, I think it's because all come up here and just think we're daft Geordies, but there's never any animosity really amongst fans.
We're potentially guilty of being too nice. And what Morgan was saying just before there was, who remembers not so long ago when Newcastle's tried the Ultras? It was embarrassing, the most cringe-worthy march I've witnessed. And I don't remember that. Do you?
Wayne had his dustbin pan and Dame's wooden spoon out and was opening up the Northumberland Street.
I something starting off at Gray's Monument one day. I just can't quite remember when it was.
I don't think that's the type of fans we are, is it? It's we're not that sort of fan base.
We would rather be in the bar, thank you.
Yeah,
but that's another thing. Like the way fans don't they? There's not that far when they come out the ground. If they've stayed, there's a bars and there. Like a lot of stadiums, you've got to walk a decent, quite a good mile. You know what I mean? That's what.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, most of them you get kicked out of pretty much straight away. You go in as a away fan. I know when I've done away trips myself, you go. You hear about pubs that should be away fans inclusive, and you get there and it's just no away fans in. It's like well, where the do I go? You don't get that in Newcastle. There's some pubs where, let's be honest, if you're an away fan, avoid like the plague. But we are definitely. If
you're a home fan, avoid like the plague as well.
Yeah, there's definitely a few.
Where would you say would fit that bill?
Funny.
I've seen away fans in the Mayfair. I've seen away fans in the Newcastle Arms.
You can back to the Mayfair. I don't think.
The new Mayfair, man.
Oh, the new Mayfair. I thought you meant the old one.
If anybody, I recommend it. If someone's asking me, if a stranger's asking me where to go pre-match, normally it's a Newcastle fan. To be fair, I'll say go to the Mayfair because the pre-match show they put on is fantastic.
I used to like the pre-match.
And everybody's singing the Newcastle songs, and they go through all the individual players and their songs, and any new songs that are out, the words are up by to learn the words.
I used to like the pre-match show Moles End West End Club, but that was for a completely different reason.
East End Club.
All right.
Billy Dick.
I guess if I had to pick an area where I would say, aye, that. Yeah, avoid Jack the Ripper's, kids. The two for me where I would maybe think. The two for me where I'd probably be like, oh, if I'm an away fan, I'd probably avoid. I would say maybe the clock and the Black Garter sort of area.
Shut up, man.
I like the clock. I've been in there, but away fans. Hey, for me, I would say away fans would probably get in some trouble down that street, but I've been in the clock a few times. I haven't minded it. I've seen a few fights on that street as well, but you get a few fights everywhere in Newcastle, don't you?
Loves it.
We'll get him a rate. All of the bars, not the Rippers bogey.
But Gotham City.
Yeah, it's, to be honest, it is part of it, isn't it?
Gotham Town, sorry.
The Batman experience. But yeah, for me, it's, St. James's Park, the city, we're talking about the bars there. It's bars we've all, we've been in, we've experienced, and we like ourselves away. I'm saying I like it, but the away fans might not. Maybe I'm just saying that because I value my life for the next time I pass. But, football is changing these kind of places. They're not going to be gone soon, but from the outside area coming up to Newcastle, they are going to be a bit more of the, we want our own pubs, we want the prawn sandwich brigade. Lee McFarlane's in there saying it's a difficult thing for people outside the area to understand how much the club is an everyday thing amongst locals. And I think I do completely agree that it goes into something Wim was saying just before there, but what I will also say is some of the commitment that foreign fans go to watch Newcastle games. So I'm not just saying that for our Lord and Master, but you see the fans in Korea and stuff like that. Was it Japan? Where one of the fans was saying he'd been a fan since Alan Pardew headbutted David Myler, and what a stupid reason to become a fan, but I absolutely love it, and to follow the club, with those time zones. I mean, I tried to follow NFL for a season, and I couldn't do it just because of the times. Maybe that says more about me as a person. Yeah. Lightweight, you know what? Yeah, I just can't do it.
Here's the thing, Gaz is saying there's only 2,000 fans make noise in the ground now. That's a Gallagher corner. When I was going as a wee napper, the away fans sang 50,000. The away fans sang 50,000 Geordies sang together and shut them up. That was absolutely a phenomenal then. That if at any point during a game the away contingent made themselves heard, then the whole crowd would pick up and, shut them up. And I remarked, I can't remember what game it was this season, when the away fans started up. And I said, back in the day, the whole lot was it. And I nearly got into a fight because I'm saying, come on, man, sing you. And, well, that's how I nearly got in a fight. Because there was nobody rose to the occasion of putting the away fans in that place.
Just as a local fan, though, jumping into this whole debate about fans who are from the area or not from the area, who do we rely on the pitch? Who are the most committed people on the pitch? We've got Brazilians on the pitch. We've got Irish players on the pitch, potentially. We've got, German players on the pitch. So we're saying those players aren't committed to Newcastle because they're not from the area. I just think, I think this whole thing about away fans is a complete fallacy and a moot point. Every fan who supports Newcastle United is a proper fan. And it doesn't matter if you're from the area or you're not from the area. You're going there. Well, there's been local fans calling out fans from different areas. If you're going there to support the team and you're supporting players from other countries on the pitch, come on, you can't have it both ways.
I get that.
I don't quite
I'm
see
not-
the
I'm not-
correlation between players and
Every fan that supports Newcastle is every fan. But what I think people get is Newcastle. It's different. Say you're from London and you support Newcastle. It's different to being in the city and getting the cup, that kind of thing. But every fan who supports Newcastle is a fan. Do you know what I mean? I just think it's like me saying I support Arsenal, but I'm not from that. Do you know what I mean? Down there to get the understanding, but I support the team and I follow the team. Well, I don't like support Arsenal, but you know what I mean. But it's that kind of way.
Hold on.
You know?
Exclusive breaking.
No, shut up.
He's about to be the happiest man on earth in 15 minutes when his team wins a title.
No, but that's what I mean. It's that kind of.
No, I get it.
I get it. Like every fan's a fan, but being from the city and brought up by your parents, and that's the kind of way. I don't know, but I wouldn't call out any Newcastle fan and say, "Here, you're from here, and you're not a true fan." You shouldn't do that. Every fan's a fan. But
100%.
100%.
I think the whole culture of the city being behind the football club as well, not just a football club, is what makes it so attractive to people watching in foreign countries as well. You know, they don't want something that's just another soulless ball. They want something that, you know, they look at and go, you know what, that is class. I want to get behind that. And as I say, I'm amazed when you see sort of let's say you're watching the game in a different way than what's on Sky or something like that, and you see these channels and they go to fan zones in the US, in Asia and stuff, and you're going, hang on, there's this many people that are travelling to a fan zone to watch a game outside. It's absolutely incredible. It's, to be honest, it's brilliant to see. And I do get it's not the same because you're not sort of every single day, you're not living and breathing Newcastle in the city. But it's I think it's the best how we get Newcastle out to those people as well, and they're sort of carrying that Newcastle around the world and that sort of culture. And I'd love it if everyone who, you know, supports Newcastle around the world gets to experience the city at least once, because I think every single person would absolutely love it.
Let's flip it the other way though as well and say the fans who aren't from the area had a choice. They've chosen to support us. I mean, we go through this pain because we are from the area and got dragged up as kids being told, you know, you're a Newcastle United fan, you know, and fans who have came in and we've asked them to do it. That's the big thing that annoys me as well. We went out around the world trying to promote ourselves as an international club. You know, we want international fans, and then we'll call the guys out. As I say, those guys have took a choice to support this. You know, look, I mean, I know it's better now, but look at over the seasons.
That's what I was going to say.
You know, you've been broken-hearted so much. As I say, I just think a fan's a fan to me. It doesn't matter if you're from anywhere.
But if we want to be the biggest club in the world, you're going to have to go around the world and get like these like supporters from all around the world supporting us. That's what Man United's done. You know what I mean? You've got fans from South Korea and China and Asia. They're all supporting that club. That's what we need to do. We need to expand and go out.
The problem is with the likes of Man United, though, there's not a single Man United fan lives in Manchester, so you know they're a bit of a mute point.
Or if they're a Man United fan, they might be supporting Man City if they're like that's the difference. Yeah.
That's it. He's completely turned, hasn't it? The blue side have taken over. Colton in there, by the way, saying, when I wear my Newcastle top, people shake my hand, and I don't live in Newcastle for 40 plus years. That's the other beautiful thing. I think that's just football as a
you'll
whole.
always find a Geordie.
Yeah, literally, you wear that Newcastle shirt no matter what, and even if people aren't Geordies, it's like, oh, you're from Newcastle? It's like, yes, I know exactly where this is going. But it's brilliant, it's lovely, and you know, maybe that's a football thing. But I like to think Newcastle, you know, it's taken a little bit further because of the personality in and around the club, and obviously the stadiums are a part of that as well. And we're talking about Newcastle expanding commercially, Newcastle expanding around the world. You know, is everything we're talking about right here how Newcastle become one of the biggest clubs in the world? You know, we're talking about that sort of foreign influence. We'll mention, Lee McFarlane mentioned, I think it was Lee, mentioned earlier about the VR stuff. Innovative things that could be done. Newcastle making St. James's Park or Leazes Park Stadium or Saudi Airlines Stadium, whatever it's going to end up being, accessible for all.
The
And
first VR stadium in the world.
I mean, that would be
Could
that'd be something,
that
wouldn't
be
it?
why they're putting the 5G in?
Yeah, a lot of work going on in the stadium yesterday. To be fair, I was there. Connor sent me over something. MJ Abbott posted. Great to be back in the northeast to start a major project as they're doing up the pitch. Taking up the pitch to bring it down, but there was a lot of bulldozers, etc. Cranes, should I say, in the stadium area yesterday. So it looks like a lot of work is being done around the floodlights and stuff like that, as we'd seen. And again,
I just quickly say to the chat there, Toon Assassin, we know how committed you are to the Toon, mate, and you know we all appreciate very much what you do for the channel. So, you know, thank you. But nobody here is saying that fans aren't committed to this club. We're having a discussion around is there a slight difference between Geordie fans who live in the city and Geordie fans who live abroad? But we all know everybody who supports this club is fully committed, and that's never ever in question about anybody.
100%. And the American mag in there saying not one single Man U fan tells international fans about not getting it because they're not from Manchester. Think about it, none. But I will say, as just a counter to that, I've seen a lot of Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool fans ridicule the African side of the fan base on Twitter and stuff, or X, shall I say, as it is. So there is that sort of hostility, unfortunately, in some places. I will say I see it a lot less amongst Newcastle fans, and that's where it should be. Sorry, Win.
No, that's it's Chris bringing his martyrdom to the stage again, you know. Just because I'm an American. I know to do with it. Welcome one and all. Welcome one and all. But you'll still never get it. And that's just a fact of life, sadly.
So how far out the area Win do you have to get to get it? So how far can you be away from the ground before you get it?
How far
I don't ask you that. I say every fan gets it.
I say it doesn't matter where you're from. If you want to support Newcastle,
No, because if you're in Timbuktu and you could be the most avid Newcastle fan in the world,
yeah,
every single person around you that you're talking to in every interaction is not also part of that. You are like alone, you're unique. And you could argue that makes it harder to support Newcastle, and I don't disagree with that at all. You know, to have been a Newcastle supporter for the last 20 years has taken some doing if you're not actually from here. I absolutely get that. And take my hat off to you all.
But Win, I could turn around to you and say you come from an affluent area of Newcastle. You know, you live Gosforth area. You know, it's rich there, so you don't get it. You don't get it because I come from a working class area where, you know, it costs a lot more for me.
I've lived in a council house all my life.
It costs a lot more for my parents to, you know, to take us to the game because of the area that we live in. To that, so if you're a richer fan in an affluent area of Newcastle, do you not get it? And do the fans who are working class get it because they know how much it means to get to go to a game?
No difference at all, because
why is there a
the affluent
then?
fans who you're on about are equally surrounded by affluent fans. So okay, you're surrounded by fans who get 3 shirts a year instead of the fans who get 1 shirt a year.
So what would you say if, I don't know, Italian fan spent loads of money, came to every game? It's not every game, but let's say
well, whatever.
10 games. What would you say about that then? Would you not say he's a true fan more than what?
I think they're all true fans. I'm not saying that they aren't true fans. What I'm saying is that they'll never get what it means to be a Newcastle fan when you've been born and brought up in Newcastle. And nobody will ever convince me differently to that. And I'm not saying a word against them. Come one, come all. The more the merrier. We need you all.
I think we're going on to the same thing as last night, aren't we? Do we want to move on from this one? Because I don't think we're ever going to agree.
Hey, that's not you, Boogie, wanting to move on from a broken record.
What happens if a fan is from Newcastle but never been in the stadium? What would you class that then to someone who has been in the stadium? Well,
it would depend on the reasons they've never been in the stadium. You know,
Maybe
if they
they
couldn't
can't.
afford it, or if they're of an age now when ever since they've been old enough to support the Toon, it's been almost impossible to get tickets. That's not their fault, but it still doesn't alter the fact that when they go to school every day, all they talk about is Newcastle United. When they go to work, all they talk about is Newcastle United. When they go anywhere in the pub at night, all they talk about is Newcastle United. That's not the same for people who don't live here.
I don't think you need to live. I don't think you need to
No,
know.
but
That
when
to
we
me,
live in it, how do we do this show? Are me and you in the pub talking to each other?
We should be.
We should be. I could do with a pint, to be honest, after this discussion. And I did try to keep off it.
That
But
is being arranged as we speak for the close season.
if me and you were in a pub doing this, I could understand your argument. But nowadays, there's the internet. You know, Chris comes on here every week and talks Newcastle United. You get Chris from London ringing in every week talking Newcastle United. You know, you get people who come on the channel that aren't from the area. You had the 2 Australian lads that used to come on.
Fantastic.
You know, so they're sitting talking Newcastle United all the time. So your argument there's mute.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not moot at all.
Well, it is. Everybody is talking Newcastle United across who supports them.
No. It's not, because they are only talking Newcastle United whilst they're on this channel. When they leave here and go about their normal work, that's when it stops. Whereas with us, it doesn't matter where you are. I guarantee you, you know, whoever you're talking to, unless you're actually in a business meeting or something, and even then, you know, when I was in business, man, you know, 9 times out of 10, the conversation that we'll have between a buyer and a proposer or something like that would be 10% business and 90% Newcastle United. And that's just the way it is here.
There is a real obsession. Sorry, go on, mate.
No, I'll let you get on with the show, mate, because, as I say, this point could go around forever.
Yeah, I was going to say, there is a real obsession around Newcastle United in the local area, and I think it's that makes, as I mentioned, Newcastle United so massive to other people who, you know, choose to absorb this club. As Boki says, it's about people choosing to be Newcastle fans, and for me, it brings a tear to the eye. It's brilliant. You know, I mean, it's something that I've always sort of expected with Newcastle growing up the way that I have, but you know, people will remember us in much worse positions, and people have still chosen to support us then. But what makes Newcastle United special, as we mentioned, it's we're potentially part of the club, but the future of Newcastle United looking forward. We've talked about the stadium, and they want to copy the alley hands and stuff like that, potentially, if it is. The future of Newcastle United probably isn't copying anyone else. It's building something that only Newcastle United could build, in my opinion. And yes, you can say, you know, there's fans in Asia, Africa, America, Europe, wherever it is, supporting Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, all of them still exactly the same as Newcastle, but as a one club city, as Sean's mentioned, you know, you've got the opportunity to do something that's absolutely massive, do something very different in the centre of Newcastle city centre. So we'll zoom out, because it ain't about buildings.
Can I just
go on, mate.
Toon Assassin here, he says, I am always talking with Americans about Newcastle United. Proud as any Geordie. Talking to all these Man U, Man City fans, etc. out there, explaining to them what it's like to support the Toon. Fantastic, Toon Assassin. But you've actually shot yourself in the foot there. Because what you're saying is, talking to all these Man U, Man City fans, etc. We don't get to do that. We only ever talk to Newcastle fans. And that's the difference. That's I don't know how to explain it any better than that. But you've come on there to an assassin, and I love you, and I thank you for your support and everything that goes with that. And I'm amazed at your loyalty and everything that goes with that. But you've just summed it up yourself in that very statement, saying that when you're out there, you're talking about Newcastle, but they are talking about other clubs and other things. Whereas here, as Mike has just said, being a one club, one city, it's all, you're absolutely drowning in it. because it's all you hear.
Sorry, Michael, I know you want to move on, but I've got to pick Wayne up on this. So how far again do you have to be outside of Newcastle not to be not to understand it? So, you've got the Toon twins who live in Washington. You've got Jack Cunningham who lives in Washington, who are 50-50. So they'll speak to Newcastle fans and Sunderland fans. So does that make them less Newcastle fans? You move down to Durham and you've probably got more of a 60-40 split in Sunderland favour. So, do they become not proper Newcastle fans? How far do you have to be away from Newcastle not to be a proper fan? This argument is absolutely daft.
It would depend on if I suppose it might depend on where you spent your childhood or whatever. When you're going to school, when all your mates around you are talking nothing but Newcastle. There would be obviously the odd glory hunter here and there. But by and large, 90% of your class would be, Newcastle daft.
So that's an answer. 90% of your class has to be talking Newcastle. So anybody from South Shields, anybody from South Shields, Washington, around that sort of area, Durham, you go across to Rowlands Gill, you go up to Ashton. Anybody from those sort of areas who don't have 90% of the fans?
No, because when they go to work, they go to work, they'll still be talking to Geordies, to Newcastle fans. But once you get that, I would say, if you want us to put a geographical area on it, I would say south of Durham and north of Northumberland.
This is nuts. Sorry, Michael.
It's all right. It's a debate. It's what we want to have. Obviously, we're going to have more of the show going on in 10-15 minutes or so. Going to be even more talking about these kind of things, very likely. But for me, as I say, I want to zoom out. This isn't about buildings. This isn't about fans at the moment. And to be fair, I've said my piece where I sort of stand on it. But this what Newcastle are doing right now, looking to sort of expand things around the outsides. It isn't a flashy transfer. It ain't PR. It ain't going to help Eddie Howe win at the weekend. It's that long-term planning, the infrastructure, the strategic investment, and it's what a serious club actually starts to do, these kind of things. And this is maybe being a bit dramatic, but it could be the start of something long-term. And, we didn't really hear much about these kind of things, of stuff actually being done before Hopkinson. And when I asked, do you think this is one of those where is Hopkinson actually starting to get Newcastle to behave like a future elite club? What do you think, Sean?
Well, I'm hoping he is in the right direction. I know coming out with we're going to be the number one club by 2030. I think that was a bit unrealistic, but at least he's got the ambition. He wants to have the ambition, and he's been with big top clubs, so he's been around a bit, so he should know what to bring. But, we've got to do it right and sensible, not rush and make a deeper hole for ourselves. But no, I just hope to see. Let's see what he does in 2 years' time, if he's still here or if he's gone.
Yeah, because let's be honest, if he does something with Newcastle, very likely someone else is just going to come in and go, well, you know what, Akiza can get stuff done. Let's give him more money to do so. But Bogey, is stuff like this positive in the fact of, you mentioned it earlier, there's not really anything, any negative to it, because even if it doesn't impact the stadium, the future stadium, etc., they've still got land that's only going to go up in value. But do you think it's Newcastle finally behaving like a bigger club than what we are?
I think we need to be careful about discussing this solely around Newcastle. As I say, the Rubens brothers and PIF are never ever going to lose out by buying Leazes Terrace.
Yeah.
Again, the stories came out, and it was very cleverly worded in regards to we've bought Leazes Terrace, but there was no sort of anything put in of this is what the plans are for that.
Exactly.
Still, if I don't want Winter calls a broken record again, but we're still at the point where no spades are in grounds anywhere, no planning permissions went in, no plans have been submitted, nothing, and this is for both the stadium and the training ground. So again, we talk a lot about these things, and it makes a great show because it gives you a lot to talk about. But in regards to it, until actions actually take over words, it sort of it doesn't change anything. So the impact for Newcastle United on this this decision, the business decision they made to buy that obviously ground is sort of, it gives options, but it doesn't change anything at the club at the minute. There's no real, future planning.
Yeah, so he adds in there with a super chat as well, saying, "What is win on? Bogey is spot on." And, well, let us know your thoughts. Some of you already have in the chat, and it'll be a conversation, I'm sure, that is going to go on a little bit later than after I depart in 8 or so minutes. But I'm going to sort of...
Cheers, lads.
Yes, thank you very much for the super chat as well. Everyone who's put them in so far, it is much appreciated. You help the channel grow, and you're helping every single one of us. But it's not gonna. It's, as I said, you're completely right, Bogey. It's one of those where we haven't had any spades in the ground just yet. But it's a little bit more than words that we've seen previously, and you can see why people are starting to get a little bit excited by it. But you are right, we might look back on it in 5-10 years and say, oh yeah, that was big for us. But right now, doesn't do anything for Eddie Howe, etc. Because let's be honest, we're not bulldozing a Grade 1 listed building right now and doing anything with that. But Wayne, I'll just finish off on the stadium topic by asking you, mate, do you think this is Newcastle finally behaving like a bigger club?
I think I agree with Borky. Talk is cheap. Buying the property is undoubtedly, a baby step forward. But as he says, it's a sound investment anyway. Yeah. Regardless of what the motive for doing it was, you would obviously think the motive has something to do with potential development. But I just, out of the big news that's come out over yesterday and today regarding the share issue or potential share sale and them buying Leazes Park, I'm more excited by the possibility of American owners than I am about the buying of Leazes Park, because I think if we were taken over by an American conglomeration, then we become part of the club.
You think that'll we're part of
we're inside the tent instead of outside the tent.
Newcastle part of the new Super League, and
exactly.
To be fair, that was one Chris in the chat mentioned earlier. We wouldn't be selling to new investors if we were staying put in the stadium. Putting these Americans, they'll be in for a new stadium. And to be honest, it is a good point. Maybe for a lot of people, St James's Park is what makes Newcastle unique. But for new investors, they're not seeing the black and white stripes. They're seeing the dollar signs in the eyes, sort of thing. So yeah, completely right. And we
should get American investors in as well, because I've heard a rumor on this channel that if we do, Chris is going to fly all across Chris is going to fly all across to America to watch the games when they put them on across there.
We're all getting to watch them in VR anyway.
Hang on, what? Yeah, and I'm sure God is speaking to me again. Hang on, God's just yeah, God's calling with a twat. That's not a good sign for the future, buddy.
That wouldn't be the first time. How's it going, fellas? All good? Hey, what you doing, man?
He just thinks
having
he's
a cookie
God,
over
man.
here. I'm just saying, man, all the disparaging you've been doing on international fans and on top,
I haven't been doing any disparaging at all.
Man, this is criminal, man. This is criminal. So, anyways, Michael, continue hosting your show, man. I'm sorry about that.
It's all right. Not to worry, but to be honest, it was just on the stadium top what we're talking about just there. Just to finish off with some Premier League news as well. it has been confirmed. Arsenal are officially Premier League champions, but we're going to pretend it hasn't happened.
Despite a Haaland equaliser.
Yes, Haaland scorer in the 90th, 90 plus 5 minutes.
Is that confirmed right now?
Yep, right now. Just gone full time. And it also means for any slim hopes that Newcastle potentially had of getting Europe, obviously Chelsea are in front against Tottenham, which would nullify it anyways, but even if Tottenham would equalise, it puts Liverpool in a position where they wouldn't need to win against Brentford, which would obviously hinder those chances furthermore. So, the dream of Europe, well, it's a Conference League, so maybe not a dream.
No, we've still got 45 minutes to go.
Don't Stop Believing is playing in his head all the time.
Delusion, man. Delusion on plain sight.
Lovely stuff. And
56 minutes at the minute. Tottenham on the attack.
Just go through some of the chats that we had in there from just before that had started, but didn't get to at the time. Marco T talking about the Beehive was the haunt 10 years ago. To be honest, I'll end up there now. To be honest,
cheapest in Newcastle.
Cheapest treble as well. You'll not have seen the fights over bars of soap down that way, Michael, when I was talking about the Garter and the Crown for away fans. Lee McFarlane saying, how many people speak to the fans from outside the area about the club in their daily lives? It's the number one topic of conversation in Newcastle every day of the year. It is a good point, but at the same time, I'll probably speak more about Sunderland, Liverpool, etc. With a lot of people I work with now, to be honest. It's got one of those, but I do see the point of when you're growing up in Newcastle, everything is Newcastle, and you kind of, let's be honest, even if you don't like football, you're kind of forced to. But for me, it's the whole thing of Newcastle is much bigger than that. Personally, Colton in there once again saying where's his Newcastle shop. Bro, we got some of the. I'll just go through some of the super chats that we had before we get back into the 9:30 show. So thank you, Wazza. For your super chat. Prosaic, thank you very much for gifting a membership. The American Mag in there as well, about the mighty win, and ads in there as well. And I believe there was another one, I believe Trulls. Yes, Trulls celebrates 23 months of membership. An absolutely incredible feat. And it's just as Win has been put in jail. As we go, Win is put in jail. When you're just as much of a Newcastle fan, if you're not born in Newcastle, saying anything else is dumb, and it means they should support South Shields. Everyone's got a debate on it. Some are right, some are wrong. I'll leave it to other people to decide. Although I think I know. Yeah, there's going to be some fireworks going on.
We're going to get into it, baby. Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate you, man. Great job dealing with these heathens here. Now it's my time to take over. So,
nice.
Cheers, mate. Cheers.
Nice.
Right. So the late night show, folks, starts right now. Let's go.
Set up for maximum confrontation and
when knackered.
Set up for maximum confrontation and super opinionated debates. The NUFC Late Night Show with Chris the American Man, Derek the Mighty Wind, and the rest of the panel Monday through Thursday from 9:30 p.m. UK and UFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army.
It is the voice of the Toon Army live here on NUFC Talk TV. Ladies and gents, don't forget to smash that like button. Become a member if you can. Support the channel. Super chat right away. Help us reach as many super chats as we can. We need to help the channel, of course. And yeah, so we got continue this second part, this late night show with Ian, with Sean, with Boki, with Win. I didn't think we were going to start with this, but, Win disparaging international fans like they mean nothing.
Win wasn't disparaging international fans at all.
Yeah, but you can say all you want, but at the end you say, but you don't get it. That means you're disparaging, you're disrespecting, you're annihilating Newcastle United. You want to keep it for yourself. And in the same token, one American owner. So it makes no sense. You want to take our money, but you don't want us to be a part of the fam. I understand how it is. You basically want to do highway robbery.
Part of the fam.
So And for a guy that wants Premier League games played in America, and I don't, for example, it says a lot about your judgment. Presidential pardon for everyone's granddad, says Lee McFarlane. I don't know if that £2 is going to be enough, by the way. That's a little £2.
Don't worry.
Oh, man. Somebody else put him in jail, man, because this is unbelievable. Watson says both Lees love hot dogs. We need some hot dogs. Let me tell you something. It will take an American to fix this PSR problem. And we don't even got to change the rules. But it will take an American to get in here and make some proper dosh for the Toon. Because right now, for about 1,000 years, the British have been governing in the Newcastle. Well, now they got Saudis, but they can't even get it done. It'll take Americans to make some proper money now. Because one of the main reasons, and we can start with that, by the way. One of the main reasons of why PIF, because it started with, don't forget to subscribe. Let's cut the music off. Because now I'm getting serious now. Because we Americans get utilized by these British folks. We get used, and they don't appreciate us. So Sean, although he's British, he understands. He knows what I'm saying. He knows. He agrees with me. That we make money, man. We build stadiums, and it started as PIF getting some offers about potential new investors. So it was kind of like they didn't even ask for it. But now, as the hours gone by, it feels like PIF are the ones opening the door for some new investors. And they say they like the Americans because of the state-of-the-art stadium. None better in this world. None. I mean, Qatar did a little something rather quickly. Brazil for the World Cup as well. Everybody does it for the World Cup. But America is the mecca of making money when it comes to their stadiums. That's what Win wants. He wants the money. But he doesn't want the American Yanks being Newcastle United supporters. So you can't have it both. You can't have both. You can't have both.
At all.
And
present company accepted.
And thank you for allowing me to be here, man. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Somebody put you back in the slammer. Who was the ads? Keep Win locked up and throw away the key. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. If you super chat, hi. Can we make a rule on live air? If you super chat, if they put you in jail for £5, they need to give £5 to lock you out, because a little 99 cent ain't enough for the amount of crap that you speak, man. I'm just saying. Anyway, Boki, Sean, thank you for really having my back. I mean, Sean, you were a bit dodgy, but I'll let you, be on my group. Although you did say everybody's a supporter, so I'll give you that. It was so you're on my side. Ian, you should be on my side, because according to the Mighty Win rules of operation, rules of engagement, you shouldn't be a Newcastle supporter because you don't get it. You live in York, somewhere else. You should be a Middlesbrough fan. So, I'm just saying.
Not what I said at all.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're a fan, Ian, but you just don't get it. That's what he said.
Ian, where you from? Where'd you go to school?
I was born on the town moor. I was born on the town moor. I went to school in Jesmond, in the centre of town. We used
there
to run
you
around
go.
the
Born
town
in the
moor,
Princess Mary, went to Jesmond in school. So he gets
So
it.
you're telling me that just by being born, you're just born. You can just
I know. That's the essential part of being a proper Geordie, is where you're born, mate. That is, unfortunately.
No, I'm not even talking about Geordies, man. Geordies,
sort of
you can have that title.
Anti-American stance, Chris. I think we've already appointed American to do all of the clever stuff.
Yeah, well, that's why we're hearing all this stuff, and rather quickly,
I was there. Know.
Yeah. Go on. There's a bad delay, by the way, between us. There's a bad delay, Ian. You might want to.
Canadian, isn't he? But he's Canadian.
Well, he's North American, so that's good. Ian, you might want to refresh, mate, because there's a big delay. Yeah, let's do that. Cheers, mate. And
yeah, I will.
I think
what's there?
If you get this compass and stick the pin in the middle of St James's Park, we need to know how far out it has to go for Win to see how far you have to be from the ground to be a proper fan.
But that's my debate. You know what I mean? It's not even about the Geordie.
To be a proper fan, there's no limit on how far you can live.
Here's the thing. To be a Geordie, which is not okay, getting whatever, man. You getting Alzheimer's by the way you're talking. But let me tell you something. the Geordie thing, that Ian was talking about, that's irrelevant. I don't care about that Geordie title. You guys keep that. I like it when people call me, hey, you're an adopted Geordie, but I love it. But I don't care about being a Geordie. I'm not a Geordie, never will be. I don't pretend to be. I'm a Newcastle United fan, which is that there's a difference to that. There's a difference. I'm a Newcastle United fan. And I shouldn't be told, you don't get it because of this, because of that. Because what do you mean I don't get it? I got it pretty well. I was in my time, this last 20 years, say, for the takeover, it was draws. And I lived it. Imagine living through that crap and some old guy from Gosforth, to keep it simple, is going to tell you don't get it. Are you mad, man? Are you mad? I chose to be a Newcastle United fan. You were born with it.
Well, there you are. There you are.
Choose it.
There's your definition right there.
It makes no difference.
It doesn't matter where you're from, does it? If you want to support the Newcastle,
there you go.
You want to support Newcastle, welcome on board. Simple as. Okay. Not a problem.
Yeah, well, thank you for letting that happen, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate your kindness. Ian,
you will never find more welcoming people than Geordie fans.
Well, I could agree with that. I could agree with that 100%. 100%. I could agree with that. Ian, you're still. I think it's a massive delay because you are now flickering and freezing all over the place. But see if you got it.
I'm okay. I can hear. I can hear you. I can hear you a lot better than I could the first time I was on. Is that any good?
That's
I think so. It's a tiny delay, but it should be all right. We need some American investors on this channel, man, so we can get Ian a proper set.
It'll come.
Hey, McFarlane, spot on, son. It's different.
I've already invested.
Handle it. It's just different. That's all. Not better, not worse. Different.
I would respect an international fan telling me that.
Well, an international fan would never know.
Well, exactly. Just like you wouldn't know what it feels like to get alienated by somebody who
doesn't
get it. It's different. What do you mean? What do you mean it doesn't get it? It's different. All of that's bollocks. Put it in context. What does it actually mean? It means absolutely nothing when it comes to Newcastle United. It was nothing. Yeah.
So Wayne, can I just ask Wayne a quick question? This one, we've got people in Newcastle who don't support Newcastle.
It's important.
We're born in the area and don't support them. So are they still better fans than the away fans? Sorry, than fans from outside the area because they were born in Newcastle.
If they don't support, well, they're not.
Sorry, are they still? But I'm saying, are they still more? Are they still more entitled than fans who support the team?
I'm not saying anybody's more entitled or anything.
And by the way, Newcastle United don't feel like Wynn does, obviously, because they allowed everybody in the world to apply for season ticket. What do you call the little waiting list that they got? If they cared about what Wynn is talking about, they wouldn't, because they would just say local fans need to, within whatever mile radius, need to be the ones applying for season tickets because the rest of them are twats. So they didn't say that. You know what I mean? They literally said everybody's involved. You know why? Because my cash is green as yours. You know what I mean? So and that's what matters and moves the world.
And I tell you, you also know why? Because at the minute, it's free. Let's just see how long that remains, that it's free to be. Well, it's actually strictly not free because you still have to be a member.
Well, yeah, you do
but
have to be a member.
But it's free to be on the waiting list. Let's just see how long that lasts.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a different conversation.
Was I saying, Chris is a farmer. I'd happily give him 2 acres.
2 acres. I got about 11 something, and in counting, man. I'm telling you, because I'm taking over now. I could be investing over there. I got something. But that ain't gonna be enough though for Newcastle United, unfortunately. But anyway,
again, we all bleed black and white. Just because I wasn't born there, I'm not even disputing that you don't bleed black and white.
One thing, because I want to move on, because we need to talk about the proper important stuff, which is Americans taking over Newcastle, which is what I'm going to force you guys to listen to. But now, this is one thing. It's a defect. It's a bad thing as well, because the Newcastle United fans have. Especially local fans. And I love you. I love you. But this is no other local fan in the world does this to, well, that we know of, does this to other fans, to international fans. Never. I've never heard I haven't even heard about this topic of discussion until I started doing content creation.
Because Newcastle's unique.
Excuse me, man. No, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Liverpool fans can have the same atmosphere, because that was one of the topics as well. We're going to lose the atmosphere. They don't get it. They don't shout. They're not Geordies. But Liverpool has no issues with atmosphere, and they have 1 trillion fans all over the world. You know, Real Madrid, same thing, Barcelona, same thing.
Graham Souness said when he came to Newcastle, having spent a lifetime of success at Liverpool, he thought he knew all about football. He thought he knew all about Newcastle United until he got here. And he said, you've got to actually be here to get it.
That's fine. That's Newcastle United. Anybody can get it, is my point. Of course you got to get Newcastle United, but anybody can get it. Well, you are actually, if you're telling the only locals can get it and the other ones don't. So my point is, only Newcastle United fans have done that. How many times have I turned round and said, only the reason Eddie Howe is as successful, the reason Bruno is as successful, is because they've embraced it and they get it. Listen, to this extent, by the way,
from the area.
To this level, I've seen it. Newcastle fans doing this to Liverpool fans, for example. Think about this. A Liverpool fan about Isak, of course, the Isak situation. And they were talking about Isak, of course. And on next, this guy had a Newcastle United, is a Liverpool fan. A Newcastle United commented on his post and said, you don't even sound like you're from Liverpool, so, you're not a proper fan, blah, blah, blah. And the guy couldn't even get what the hell was going on. Like, what? Like, how am I supposed to sound if I'm supposed to be a Liverpool fan? Well, of course, you'd be a Scouser if you're a local. But it's unheard of anywhere else in the fan base for this conversation to happen. It's unheard of. That's why I'm saying, even when you insult, when you welcome, whatever, it's a mute point, man. It's a mute point. It's a moot point, not mute. It's a mute point. Anyway. But anyway, let us talk about...
I think the distinction, maintaining that distinction, Win, you've got to move with the times. You maintain that distinction, you paint Newcastle into a corner where they're not going to ever have any more than 40,000 in the stadium. You look at the teams at the top that we're trying to compete with, they've opened it up, the global brand. They've got crazy supporters in Africa, in Asia, in America.
Exactly.
That's who we want. We've got to encourage it. We've got to welcome people with open arms. And if I don't get a ticket for half of the home games because there's people flying in from Hong Kong and America and Canada and wherever else, then so be it. That's because we've got a catchment area of the world now, not just up to the river. And who has been championing international fans? And they will get it. Who has been championing international fans more than I do?
But you can't say all that and then say, but you don't get it.
Fans, I want every single one of them.
What I mean is, but you can't say that it's different. When you can't say it's different.
Exactly, man.
Newcastle fans who are Newcastle fans, they wouldn't remember the name of Pavel Srnicek. They wouldn't be able to tell you whether Rob Lee played for Newcastle or he was.
Where's the white eye, man?
Well, that's all just down to generation. That's.
No, but I think Ian is great because I couldn't tell Ian I'm a Geordie and you're not, or vice versa, or not vice versa. But I couldn't tell him that because the Geordie thing is a Geordie. It's beyond football, so it's a geographical thing. But that's irrelevant. I'm talking about Newcastle United. To be a fan, it's not a whether you're here or there. Now listen, I think it's the local. You got to get the local part of what what it's about, like the ferocity of being a fan and going and shouting and screaming and screaming every tackle. All that's learned. I've seen Josh, who left us a long time ago. Josh from Philly, when he liked us. He's out there, he's singing his songs, he's shouting, he's getting angry, a little overreacting, a little performative to be honest, but he's getting it. So, he's from born in Philadelphia for God's sake. Or I don't know if he's born Pittsburgh, I think. So, but he's not a Geordie, but he's doing the exact same things. You see what I'm saying? So experiencing the town is an unbelievable thing that I recommend to everybody. Just don't go to South Shields. Oh, my bad. Sorry. No. Sorry, Sean. Sorry, man. Sean, man, I'm trying to get you to laugh, man.
I'm not from South Shields.
Nowhere near South Shields.
But they got something in common. No, I'm just saying, man. Let's just all welcome everybody. And there's no buts, Sean. No buts. Unless you're into it. Unless you're Mighty Win and he's onto something else that we, But with
No, I
one T is
agree.
what we're talking about.
It doesn't matter where you're from in the world. If you want to support Newcastle, the culture doesn't matter, is it really? Yes, being there is the culture of the ground and the supporters and getting to know the history. But to me, I don't give a monkeys where you're from. If you want to support Newcastle, brilliant.
Yeah,
Brings
yeah.
in more money.
And Lee says Chris won't accept what he has experienced here in the Toon himself. How awkward is that? No, that's not the case at all. That's not even the same conversation. I think Newcastle is an unbelievable city that's made me even think about buying a house there. So that's how crazy it is. But how can I decide that on 2 times that I've been to Newcastle? Because it's great. It's great. I'm definitely not staying with Win. He's into dodgy stuff, man. I'm not into that stuff at night. I don't care. I stay in a hotel far away from Win. So I think it's an amazing place. So that's that. Anyway, let's talk about the investing, which is people want to really talk about. And of course, the stadium, if we can touch on that. I know you guys done that. But I think American Investor, Win, you're excited about that. I think American Investing would be great. And I think that based on what I heard from the Chronicle, because I guess kind of going against what I'm preaching, Americans do get what it is that it's about making money with a stadium. And wouldn't you want to have that? The problem is somebody's got to give us some percentage somebody's got to give a percentage. PIF would have to be, unless the Rubens want to. I doubt they do. You said that they're the second most wealthy family in the history of British Empire. So I don't know, man. Are they going to do that? But what do you think? I know you're excited. So let me give you the conch to speak something that you like that you like about. You want Americans taking over.
I want whatever we end up with to be the finest football experience you can ever get, so that when you go to the match, you have had the day of your life and you've paid a lot of money to do it, but it's been worth every penny. If that means I'm not going to be able to afford to do it, so be it. So be it. But I want it to be the best.
Man, listen, don't take the time. I'll give you the conch. Don't take the time to act like a martyr, like Eddie Howe. I'm going to leave. I'm going to be the. Why do you like the American investing, man? Stop playing.
Well,
don't try to be a hero now.
Because we've got currently 14 Premiership clubs with US investment, 12 with majority US investment, and they will be making the rules.
But that ain't gonna. Well.
And if we are one of them, and no, at the minute they're making the rules to subvert non-American interests, which we are at the minute. And if we suddenly swap sides and get inside the tent instead of being outside, that can only be good for the club, I think. And also, there's every possibility you could get Amanda back, and she gets it.
There's neat possibilities. Exactly. So how do you make that? How do you reconcile with your own statements, man? It makes no sense. There's Newcastle fans and there's Jordy's fact. Well, I don't disagree with that. I agree with that 100%. There you go. But anyway, did you guys mention this earlier in the show, the American investing?
All I said, just towards the end, I just happened to say that out of the 2 bits of news that have come out yesterday and today, I'm more excited about the fact that they've apparently put some shares up for some stakeholding in the club, shall we say, up for sale, than I am about them buying Leazes Terrace.
Yeah, so
the actual ownership of Leazes Terrace is just one small piece of the jigsaw.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be the club that they're putting these shares up for, does it? So, the actual Newcastle United Football Club shares aren't the same as the football ground shares now than the property side of it.
Yeah,
you could have somebody come in and invest. You could have somebody come and invest in that, but not actually Newcastle United Football Club.
Well, okay, so let's assume it could, because I agree with Chris as well, what he's saying about American stadiums. American sports stadiums are easily the best in the world.
I'm not
And
saying that's a bad thing. I'm just simply saying that it doesn't have to be that
if
they're
we're
going to
getting
invest
that
in the football club.
expertise in for our new project, you know,
Yeah,
power to their elbow.
100%.
But the Leazes Park thing, guys. I mean, Ian, I'll start getting ready, man, because the delay. You know, it'll take 10 minutes for you to get it. This part, but I'll get to you about this because the Leazes Park thing. The first, I got excited over it, but then I started thinking, which Win doesn't do much, and I thought, I don't know. I mean, if they got the first of all, I didn't think about this first, but then I thought, like, they're gonna just expand St. James's Park because that's gonna cost just about as much. So if they do that, there ain't no way that you're getting a new stadium. And then I thought, well, they can't tear that stuff down because it's part of the old buildings. So I'm struggling to understand what really the thing is. I mean, obviously, just owning it, it'd be the land, and then you own the next, and you kind of like just brick and mortar type thing, But is that it? I mean, 20 million. If PIF is looking for an investor, that means they would like some dosh as well. And if they're just going to throw for 25 million to buildings they can't do nothing with, I don't know. I just need some explanation here, Ian.
I don't get it either. I don't get it either. I think there's precedent in moving listed buildings, in actually lifting them brick by brick and shifting them a bit further away from where you want to build. But if there's a right of light, and Newcastle had bought all of those properties that would have people in complaining that they didn't have any light, I don't know if they even need to move them, do they? I don't get it.
Well,
because all of the
there was.
previous, it looked as if they were trying to raise cash to build a new stadium, and then the next day they bought controlling interest, if you like, in these listed buildings, which is blocked for expanding the stadium. It's like they haven't actually got a single plan yet. But I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe it's quite cheap to get control of the homeowners or building owners, and they've bought nearly all of them, haven't they? So they must have a big say as residents, or whatever you call them, in what happened. They certainly won't be complaining that their light has been blocked if a big east stand went up. So maybe they're going to do a quick east stand fix for the 3 or 4 years it takes for a new stadium to get put up. I don't know. I really don't know.
Do you not think
It
it's
seemed
just
like
future?
two conflicting stories.
Do you not just think it's future proofing though? Because we discussed this earlier. They can't lose by this deal. Those houses are worth that no matter what.
Yeah.
So are they just building up a
Are they?
portfolio that means that they've given themselves the options for when we do actually do the stadium? So the opportunities came up to get those properties, and they've thought, well, we don't lose either way. We'll get them in, and then it gives us the options on either a new stadium or extending St. James's if we can't get permission, as you say, to do something with Leazes Terrace.
But
Right.
it also prevents anybody else buying them and starting
Yeah.
to do some sort of, what do you call it, like mischievous little bits and pieces. And I remember seeing the story a year or two ago about somebody who bought 2 or 3 of the car parking spaces up against the stadium, and they would cordon them off on a match day and cause absolute havoc. So that, I mean, buying them stops anybody else buying them, and really putting the kibosh on anything that goes on there. I think you're right. I think they've got an investment which will retain its value, but if for
Yeah, but
some reason they can't get permission
I'm
for a new stadium, then I wouldn't be surprised if
I'm not sure.
shifted
I'm
them.
I'm not sure these buildings are worth 25 million, and I'm telling you from an investor's perspective. If you got money, you can just buy whatever and spend whatever. It's irrelevant. But if you're caring about return of investment, ain't no way these buildings. How many of these tenants are and how much money they're paying a year? 25 million. I'm not sure. However, there is green people out there when. And they put the come on, man. When you got your green shirt, you didn't know that. You got your
AI green shirt.
You got your green shirt and you got your my listed buildings. No, but they're not going to tear it down. Win, don't cry, man. They're not going to tear it down because they can't, can they? I mean, has it ever happened where that sort of thing has happened before?
Many times.
Really?
Yeah.
You can tear a Georgian. Oh, what is it? Georgian? What is it?
Yeah, it's Georgian.
You can't. But
Georgian.
Yeah, you can, but you've got to jump through a few hoops
there's a lot
to do it.
Pull them down.
Yeah,
You can move them, but I mean,
no, you pull them down.
There have been lots of instances.
Hundreds of listed buildings demolished.
Can I just put a quick point in here that we shouldn't be looking to pull down listed buildings. If we can, we should move them or save them.
Well, that's that. Well, yeah, because I mean, Boki's got a job.
Vested interest.
Yeah, he's got a job
in Seton Delaval Hall.
Which I went to the upside down room. I was there. I got my picture, and Boki was kind enough to let us in because he's the boss over there. Don't get Boki mistaken, man. He's a high end executive, although he looks like Winnie the Pooh, but that's irrelevant, man. So but look, that could be. But when you on the other picture, you had your green shirt, you're crying over listed building. So I mean, and now you're with your red shirt. You don't care about listed building. You don't care about history.
I think you'll find that you disgracefully.
You don't care about.
Peeled that image from our Jackie Milburn funeral.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't. You were that old when Jackie Milburn died?
And then you put a green shirt on me, and then you had me holding a sign saying my listed buildings when I have consistently said the club should do that Billy Big Bollocks that they did with Isaac and turn round to the council and to the national planning authorities and the English heritage and say, if you don't let we knock them down, we're moving out of town. Simple.
Yeah, but how many times? First of all, I need you to bring up these hundreds of examples that a listed building has gone down, because it's easy to say 100, but give us a proper example of where this has been down because of our football. Because at the end of the day, it's football. It's very important though in England, so maybe it's enough. But has any stadium, any listed building been torn down for football purposes?
Well, you're making it specific now for football. Yeah, but
you have to be in it. It has to be an important purpose, man. You can't just tear it down because you feel like it.
I'll give you an example. There's a co-op up in Newsham in Blythe, where I live, and they were asking for permission to pull that down. It's a Grade 2 listed building to build a new co-op on the other side of the road. And the building's nothing special when you look at it. If you can look this up in the Chronicle in the chat if you want. The building's nothing special, but it got turned down straight away because it's Grade 2 listed.
Right. Around 250 to 300 listed buildings are granted demolition consent every year in England.
No, but that's irrelevant because me and you were about to invest in a listed building in the town. I can't remember where it was at now. Remember? And it's old as hell. You tried to invest in it before, and you said they would let you buy it for like £2, but then you couldn't tear it down. So what's the point, man? I mean, like you said, and that's for real estate purposes, making the town value going up.
You can tear it down, but you can only ever use it.
Oh, you can't make money off of it
as a men's hostel that you're not allowed to charge money for. So it has to be a free men's hostel.
Well, exactly. You can't do. Where was this at, by the way?
It's got to be a Tramps Paris. It's on Westmoreland.
It's got to be next to the soup kitchen in Newcastle, is it?
No, tell us the exact location though, because it's
on the junction of Westmoreland Road and St James Boulevard. No.
So what they call this building? Because they got to call it something, right? If there's a listed building.
It's not a listed building.
But you said it was.
Can I just say as well, when Win was on about listed buildings getting ripped down there as well, it's listed structures. So it's a building. There's every little building on a listed site is a classed as a building, and the reason they're pulled down is because they become unsafe because they've not been kept up. So it's not that it's not like they're going to start to rip down a huge building. It's like it could be a little shed that's listed, but it gets permission to be took down because it's on a listed site. So it's a little bit of a falsehood what he was saying there about listed buildings.
I mean, Brian Penny there, I'm assuming from the Toon as well. So he says, Grade 1 listed building, Win, very difficult to do anything, let alone bulldoze.
I'm not disputing it's difficult.
Yeah, but you can't. But come on, man. So you're basically saying, okay, they just bought it. I guess they're doing Newcastle United are doing real estate investing now, so they just bought a multi-family property building, so they're just gonna rent it. So is that what? Nothing to do with what we were talking about then. Nothing to do with what we were really concerned about. Is that right, Win? Because I mean, if you come on, man, what are you gonna do? Put a bridge over it and build a stadium like that? That would be something innovative. But I mean.
What I'm saying is, it's difficult, rightly so, difficult to get consent. There have to be overriding reasons to the benefit of the community to start that ball rolling for to get permission and to demolish. And I believe that the stadium fits that bill, because moving the stadium away from St James's Park will totally kill the city centre. So there'll be nobody in the city centre to walk up to that building and see it.
Yeah, but they could just say, you buy the rest of the Leazes Park and just build it there.
Yeah.
You don't have to move the building.
The other option is that you incorporate that building into your stadium. So, it's the office. It's not a high building, and you're going to be.
That's true, actually. Anyway. I just said it, yeah.
So you incorporate that in, and it becomes either a hotel in the building or offices in the building, and then you sort of have that is part. And architects will be able to sort that out easy enough.
That's a very innovative way that I thought about, and then Boki followed up on. So, Win, you don't think that they could build something like that over it, or make it part of the whole structure? That's something interesting.
Well, I suppose that could certainly be incorporated. It would just, massively.
It costs a lot of money, though.
Increase the cost of the whole project, infrastructure-wise, foundation-wise, drainage-wise,
right.
Everything to go with it.
But why? So basically, let me answer the question then. Why have they bought it?
I think they've bought it because it will make it. If they own it, it'll make it easier to obtain any permissions that could possibly be forthcoming. It'll make it a lot easier than if they didn't own it, for to get a demolition consent.
Right. Well, Sean, Ian,
complaining about blocking out light. They'll not be, if they're owning it. There's nobody to complain about the light being blocked out.
So they could go all the way
There's
out.
no one to complain about it. It doesn't make any difference, does it?
But actually, building the height doesn't solve the problem. For to increase capacity, you've got to go backwards as well. I mean, just in sheer construction terms, you've got to have a bigger base foundation to have that additional level above anyway. So you have to be, the stadium footprint would have to overlap Leazes Terrace.
Yeah, but that's not the case already. If they did the other side.
Yeah, there used to be a big car park between the stadium and Barrack Road. There's no car park there now. That's all the Milburn stand.
Yeah, but
that was like 100 yards.
When you said before, didn't you, about let's stamp the ground, let's say either threaten the council or we'll move, yeah?
Yeah.
But Newcastle don't own the ground, do they? They only own the stadium. Doesn't the council own what stadium?
The council owns the land.
Yeah, so
we've got a 99-year lease on it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say. So.
Which is now down to 79, I think.
Mm-hmm. So the council aren't really going to threaten us if they say, "Well, move then." Just obviously.
Well, if they want Newcastle City Centre to die, they will. I
don't think it'll die. You got the shops, you know what I mean. You've got
the shops. The shops rely
and the pubs
massively. The pub rely massively on match day revenue. Without match day revenue, most of them would go bust.
Yeah.
No, I understand that, but I mean, I don't think that people would just stop going there because I mean, the whole area is just a busy area anyway. I understand. No, listen, don't get me wrong. The match, that's a massive thing.
The quayside and the nightlife area would probably survive.
No, Exactly.
But
There you go.
Northumberland Street would die at death. Eldon Square would die at death.
But Eldon Square, they have stuff in it, don't they? They have stores. They have stuff. Like, it's the city center, though. It's already built like that.
Yeah, but
So-
nobody goes to the city centre these days, man. They
Yeah,
go online.
No. I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all, man.
Every
No,
time
no,
I've
no.
got
You can look at
Newcastle
any
Premier
city
League.
centre in the country, Chris, man.
But
It's
that's
malls. You know, America to blame again. It's all the out of town centres that are doing great,
Yeah, but that, I mean, it's everything is the economy. Come on,
and
guys.
that's because they're
You
not
can't-
paying the stupid rates
Hold on.
that Newcastle City Council charge in the city centre.
Sean, but come on, man. Ian, you can't. Is this true? Like, everything is just Amazon. Nobody goes to the city center no more if it's not Newcastle United related. Give out.
Unfortunately, it probably is true
It's a massive- it's
in
a
regards to
It's a massive
in
impact in. There is a massive impact in retail.
You
Absolutely.
don't get it.
Sales.
No,
But let's
of
be
course
honest.
it is. It's just, but it's everywhere in the world, not
But
just
people
Newcastle.
still-
Exactly.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
the
you
re-
can't
the
tell
re-
me we.
People
The
still want
reason
but we-
Newcastle is still thriving is because the stadium
But
is
when-
in the middle.
I understand that everywhere in the world is going online, but that doesn't mean that stores close. I mean, there's
Of course
less,
it does.
of course, less demand. We have stores everywhere, man. What are you talking about?
You have out of town malls everywhere, warehouses.
That place you took me to, where they have
That's
H&M and
not
all that stuff, it was filled with people, and it
Well-
wasn't a match day.
No,
That's that
but-
Eldon Square.
But they can stay open because on a match day they're heaving. Because when the blokes gone to the match, the missus has gone to the shops.
No, no. You're back in the 60s, man. People don't do, like, what are you talking about, man? Like, I go to Imagine Have a Pint, and my wife is gonna go cook and get the groceries.
Chris,
and
what
get outta here, man.
what they've done with Newcastle is it's not, you're not there to shop, you're not there to go shopping. They've moved offices into the area, like the HMRC are there now, aren't there? And
So it's
you know,
Sky,
so Sky's there. It's people working. So yes, it's still busy, but it's busy because of a different reason. And those people won't go to the pub every day to have a couple of
No, of
pints, and they
course.
won't go to the shops every day.
I-
So
yeah,
what we're saying is
no,
kind of
no.
right, which I
I
don't like
under-
agreeing
okay.
with.
I understand one. Listen, I don't want to be in sound like I don't get it. I do. Football is football. I understand that. Just like American football
Nothing
here,
to do with
the pubs.
football.
No, listen to me. It's like American football here. Pubs are incredibly full on a match day, or but then you got 6 other days, man. So you got 6 other days, and so you can't tell me that these people only and solely survive based on 4 months, 5 months of the Premier League.
Yes, I can.
No, well, I don't know. Like, solely, like, that's what you depend on? I don't know, man. Shops are open. What does the clothing
but
store got to do
retail-
with anything?
Yeah, but retail online now, shoppers have killed retail in a sense. Going to shops.
Look at any town in the country,
They've
man.
affected
They're all
retail. They haven't
They're
killed
all
retail.
ghost towns.
They haven't killed it because they're there.
No, but
Yeah, but all you've got is Turkish barbers, nail bars, charity shops, betting offices, and boozers.
where I live, there's about
What
10
else do you
Turkish
need?
shops. You've got 6 charity shops. You've got, you know what I mean? There's not, the shops come, but they don't last long. They don't seem to last.
Yeah, but that it's like opening a pub in Newcastle is probably not the right idea because there's 1,000 of them per mile. So, but so there could be the business strategy thing. But I don't know, man. I just feel like every city in the world has it has a good economy because they have it's a magnet. Like I go St. Louis City is not the same as somewhere else. It's big cities are magnets everywhere, man. So Newcastle, you got the university. People go there all the time. Like it's not gonna. Listen. I'm not disagreeing that the team being there, it's a massive boost, no doubt about that. I'm just saying that if you take Newcastle United to, I don't know, somewhere else to let's just say if you can, yeah, somewhere really far. I don't know that Newcastle upon time will die. Well, sorry, the city center. I don't know. I
Trust
don't
me,
know.
it will.
I don't want to be a broken
Okay.
record here, but can I just say now, its official win is Eddie Howe out. because Chelsea have won
I'm Eddie Howe now.
and we can't get Europe at all this season, and that was his very, very strict
Wayne
guidelines.
is knackered.
We are knackered.
But he
Wayne,
gets sacked
come
now.
on,
I've got no sympathy.
man. Oh man, come on, Wayne. Say standing expansion, my listed building. Right, so we got stuck on that topic. I think it's a very good topic. I think it gets a lot of people from Newcastle involved about that. You know what I mean? It's a lot. Hey, let me tell you something.
I'm Eddie Howe now.
That speaks louder, man, than that dirty, stinky, onion-smelling shirt you got on since
That's
Eddie Howe
fresh
started.
out the wash.
What you keep saying that every time we question you about it, so I don't know. I'm not sure to believe that. But
It was fresh out the wash yesterday.
anyway, so
That's
either way,
I wore it for 3 hours on the show.
I don't think that this is going to. I just don't know what was going to happen. I mean, 25 million. I guess that's not a lot of money to them, but it's questionable to say the least. If you're looking at it from a fan perspective, put Wayne in the stocks and give out free custard pies. That'll get the city center back to life. Thank you very much, Adrian Pickett. Appreciate it, man. Thank you very much indeed. You're going back in jail. There you go.
Custard pie.
Oh, and you've set the bill
So,
high there,
actually,
man, at a
I'm just
fiver.
thinking,
Yeah, I need a $5 to get him out because this dude, man, I'm telling you, we need to put the mute button when people are in jail too. By the way, that would be lovely.
Well, I can do that.
what I was going to
There you
say
go.
there, by the way, was I'm forgetting anecdotally, as a young lad with my family and friends and their family, they would avoid going into town for shopping when the match was on. They bloody hated it.
Yeah,
They
well, I would
hated
agree
being
with that.
amongst the crowd. So you take the foot of your way, Wayne, and I reckon you start encouraging people back out into town to start shopping on those days.
Driving again.
And let's be honest, the match against West Ham, kicking off at 5:30 on a Sunday, that's not attracted a load of people in for shopping, has it?
Now, I have a question though. I have a question actually, because I don't know how like the areas and how the taxation sort of thing works. But so I kind of have an idea. But let me ask you, because if they move the stadium or Newcastle United, like say somewhere far, where can we be? Like say by the airport. Let's just say, yeah, by the airport. Let's just come up with that. Newcastle Council still governs that, right? So
Nope.
They
Or
don't?
Northumberland.
So it's just Northumberland that they.
Northumberland
that they-
would welcome them with open arms.
No, okay, but how far? How wide does the governance of the city council go? Is it just down the city center?
Just north of Gosford.
So, because I was just thinking, maybe they don't care where it moves, so as long as it stays within the city center. So,
It ain't going to stay within the city centre if it moves. Unless it goes to Leazes Park.
oh, sorry, I gotta take this call. You keep on.
So if
Yeah.
it did go to Leazes Park, do you think that you'd still get the same amount of fans win? Do you think you'd still get the same amount of fans at the game?
Yeah, but I think the boards would lose a lot of money because, look at the Labour Club. It moved from
To
Leazes
Haymarket.
Park Road to the Haymarket, 200 yards, and within 6 months it's gone bust. Because the match day revenue was what kept that going.
Yeah.
And
do you think
and you've got to
Yeah, but that's because their traditional clientele are dying off, man.
Yeah.
nonsense. It's
different-
it's
there's a-
because they would rather go now to Bar Logo or the Companions Club as it is now, the old Labour Club,
Yeah.
or the Strawberry or where, because it's within 5 minutes of the ground. Not you can have an extra pint.
Ian, do you think sort of if we do move, like obviously the stadium up a little bit, that if they build like a stack or something right next to the stadium, the town's still going to lose money anyway because most people are going to try to get in there before the match?
Dead right.
No, I think you're right. I think it's
And then that's all money.
it's full, isn't it? 3,000.
As I've said again many times now on the channel, the club have now got the facts in front of them, how much 3,000 people can spend in 6 hours on a match day. and they compare that with the total taking a 52,000 spend inside the stadium, and they're saying, bloody, what the hell are we doing here, man? What are we doing wrong?
Do we actually know, Wayne, how much the town makes on a match day? Like, so how much pubs and hospitality in the area, like just as like a roundabout figure, how much a match day makes for the
It would
team?
be so difficult to quantify, I think,
Wayne, what
Specific clubs, isn't it?
what you've just told us about the Labour Club is kind of an argument against what you're saying. Yeah, the Labour Club relied on match day business.
Yeah.
Moves 200 yards away, goes bust because people won't do that walk. But everything else that's already in existence and trading at the Haymarket and beyond, down Northumberland Street, they're not getting the match. You've just proved, haven't you? They're not getting much off the match because they're already
Well,
existing
they're getting a
away
different
from where
they're
people
getting
walk.
a different clientele to what the Labour Club had.
But you still think it's a match Labour Club that wants a longer walk? I think it's people that aren't at the match and they'll still be there. Like I say, there's a strong argument that you take 50,000 screaming Geordies out of central Newcastle on a Saturday, and a load more people are going to go. Shall we go into town?
Exactly.
Shall we go shopping?
Sean,
We'll be able to sit outside at the pub.
Good luck with that.
Just as a quick question, Sean, obviously me and you are fans that probably won't have to use mobility scooters to get up to the new stadium if they do build it up there. Would you have any issue with it being a little bit further away from the ground?
No,
like
not
the
really.
pub's
No,
been a little bit further away.
not really. Because if you want to go for a pint, you're going a little bit earlier, going up. You know what I mean? And then if it's a good day and you're in the win, you want to go back down to the pub. Not really. But at the end of the day, we've got to look at the club. It's going to bring more money in. That 10 minutes, and if it's extra and it goes to 65,000 or 70-seater, that's going to still bring more money into the club. And that's what we need. We need that revenue. Newcastle are going to go thinking, oh, well, let's think about that pub and that pub and that pub. They're there for that, for the club, aren't they? Not. But no, it wouldn't bother me. Extra 10-minute walk, 5-minute walk.
Do you know what the one thing I was thinking about the day was? I was kind of getting a little bit excited about having a new stadium. Having this big panel stadium, like they've got in America and they've got down London, you'd still be able to see it from the cathedral in the hill once St. James's unfortunately would be knocked down. Do you think there's a little bit of disappointment in some fans thinking we're not going to get that experience of a brand new stadium if they do go ahead? And the reason they bought Leazes Terrace is because they're going to extend St. James's. Do you think we're still going to have an out-of-date stadium even though we're going to spend a lot of money? Would it be better to build a new stadium? I suppose what I'm saying. Win.
That's what I would like. If that was there in the stadium, which is what the artist's impression was of what's going to be in the stadium, then you wouldn't need to go to a pub. You'd just go there, and then the club are getting all the money.
Exactly.
And that, so I'd be in the ground for 3 hours extra.
But,
so you're saying you'd rather have a new stadium, basically, because
and it would be full of Newcastle fans and singing and chanting. And...
I'm saying they couldn't do that with St. James's Park. So you kind of saying you would like the new stadium win, in which case?
Absolutely, I want a new stadium.
Yeah, but if you look at like Barca, right? Barcelona, they've got 3 stadiums. You know what I mean? They've got why can't, like I said earlier on the show, if we're going to move, keep St. James's. You've got that lease. Use it for the women. Use it for the academy. Them boys that are 18-year-old playing on St. James's Park. What a feeling that is. Us as I'll go and pay to watch the women fan. I'll even go and watch academy game. You know what I mean? Barca do it. They've got 3 stadiums. They use the B team, go to the stadium. You know what I mean? Why? And you're going to have to use, if we move, that stadium's still going to be there. Then what we're going to do when it's gone.
Sean, do you think there's a reason behind we can't do that, or because we don't do it at the minute with the ladies' team? St. James's Park. Yeah, they could easily have just shifted them there when obviously we lost, but they lost obviously Kingston Park. So, do you think the reason to do it is because they know they can't get the amount of fans in to make it financially viable for the women's team to play at St. James's Park?
See, I don't know.
Yeah, if you're looking forward,
you got to look at women. You got to look at the women's team. They play on a Saturday as well, don't they? Same as what we do sometimes, or a different day. But when they went there, we Newcastle fans went out and watched them. There was 30,000. It was probably the most, wasn't it, one of the most attended games. You know,
It
I
was the
don't know
record crowd for the second division.
exactly. So that proves that Newcastle would get behind them. So
Ambience is there.
because they play on a weekend like we do, in different time, that's why maybe they can't put them in there. But when they do, we fill that stadium.
Winner, a couple of super chats we want to go through.
Yeah. Plaggy Steak Bakes is saying modern stadium upgrades build down below ground. Well, the whole point is you get that whole mall experience.
Yeah.
And as that was I saying, they haven't bought all of Leazes Terrace. No, that's about five individual properties that they haven't.
I tell you what, I'd love to own one of those properties on the Leazes Terrace. Can you imagine them coming in?
It's a bit like what Ian was saying before. The kid who he bought part of St James Street, and it included 2 parking spaces which are right outside the ground.
He built a fence round, didn't he?
And he sold the because they've already bought best part of St James Street as well, and but they forgot about the parking places, so he tried to sell them. They worked out he paid something like 180,000 for these 2 parking spaces, and he was asking 10 million for them. So
you can't blame him, can you? You would do it yourself if you.
Yeah. Well, that's good on him, for having the insight to do it.
Did anybody see the interview from Rob Lee the other day in regards to what he would do about players who didn't want to play for the club or for any club he was captaining? And he said he would go around the dressing room basically and say to players who didn't want to say to players basically, look, do you want to be here or don't you? So rather than beat around the bush, he says as the captain of the club, I would go around and say, are you committed to this club and do you want to work? Do you want to stay here? And if they said no, then he'd say, right, I'll let the manager know. Do you think Bruno does that sort of thing? Do you think there's the leadership group are doing that sort of thing here, Sean?
It's hard to tell, isn't it, really? You get mixed signals from the club. When I watched the game against West Ham and where Bruno and Willock argued, it wasn't like, I know they've made up apparently, but it was that kind of, hang on, has there been a bitter in the camp throughout the season?
Yeah.
That's how it looked, that game with, that's what it looked like. But me, if you don't want to play for the club, then as a manager, if you don't want to play, drop them and say, right, you're not playing. But you can't really do that now in this day and age. But unless you got players that can actually play in their position, like dropping Toon Army would actually suffer us. You know what I mean? We would be really snookered. But no, I don't think I see it.
Do you think the leadership team would shout players out, Ian? Do you think that's the way this team is at the minute? Do you think that they're strong enough as a group now?
I don't know. I think, well, I mean, there might have been year 2, year 3. I think Isaac leaving. Dan Byrne wasn't very pleased with that, and he made that fairly public, didn't he? But, Anthony Gordon, Sven Botman were quite encouraging and wishing him all the best when he left. I think something like that. When there's been the emotion involved in him actually leaving, that must have been a right rift through the squad. There'll be factions. Now you'd hope that they could move on from that, and that there shouldn't be. But if Dan Byrne felt it the way we felt it and thought he was a rat, it'd be hard for him to look the same way at Anthony Gordon, for example, who was wishing him all the best and sounding quite envious when Isaac finally went through to Liverpool. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a unified squad enough to be able to do that and then to let the manager know and let the manager decide what to do. I think there might be a few of them keeping their cards close to their chest and another few of them playing both sides at the same time. But I mean, there's something up this year, isn't there? It's not the same squad. Not the same squad.
No.
I would absolutely.
You still see that leadership role on the pitch.
I would love it to be the case, but I think Rob Lee, to a degree, is living in the past. that you know, back then footballers didn't have the clout that they've got now. You know, just financially they didn't have the clout.
Yeah, but they didn't have social media back then, though, did they? Realistically,
And they didn't
No.
have social media. And
that's the big
but
thing.
I mean, if you remember, no, it wasn't Speed. Who was it who went round when we got beat? Oh, it was Kevin Nolan, I think, wasn't it? Went round and said,
No
"Do you
idea what
want to
you're
be?
talking about.
Do you want to be? What we got relegated, and then the
Is it
pre-season
Lascelles?
we got Lascelles. Yes, it was Lascelles. You're right. And he went. He said, "Do you want to be here next season? No one, because if you don't, do one, you know."
Yeah.
And a couple of them did. And the ones that stayed, of course, got was straight back up again. And that was, but again, it was a different era.
Different era. Do you think, as well, we'll move on from that one. Do you think, did you see the interviews today with, well, the reports today with Hall in regards to him thinking about his future and potentially wanting to go to Man U? Do you think there's anything in that?
Well, I saw a Man U post to that effect,
Exactly.
Yeah.
but I haven't seen anything from Lewis Hall's lips, or
But
from the club, or from a like a what you may call a proper journalist.
Yeah. Do
But
you
you
think
see,
there is a chance?
all our big players always seem to get
Just
linked, don't they?
just in the chat saying that he's not happy because Dan Burns starting ahead of him.
You can't blame him for that.
I kind of blame him for that. You know what I mean? But
Well, I could understand him not being happy about Dan Burns starting ahead of him. But to be honest, I would give it more than 3 or 4 games before saying I'm going. I would get my bloody nose to the grindstone and make it impossible for Dan Burns to be picked ahead of us to at left back. Certainly, was Lewis Hall. The crowd were already on his side. He surely hasn't got to do very much in training to force himself back in the team. I mean, he's been in a very good performance at left back on
I
Sunday,
think
so you know he should hold that position.
I think Dan Burn got put at left back, and Lewis Hall got rested a few times because Lewis Hall knows he's going to the Euros, like, you know what I mean, the World Cup. Sorry, Dan Burn, you know what I mean, is it to try and get him to go to the World Cup? That's what, you know, I feel like he's put him in because he knows Lewis Hall's going. But I don't think Lewis Hall will leave. I haven't heard from his mouth that he wants to go. Nothing. I think it's just a lot of pure gander made up to try and shit stir.
Well,
It's just a lovely a bit of
you could,
what they call it, photo shopping with the Man City shirt on.
Man U.
Yeah, Man U shirt. Sorry, yeah.
Do you know? I could kind of get Hall's frustration because I don't know if what it is with Eddie Hall, but I just don't see him as quite an Eddie Hall type of player. I know Hall's a great player, but there's always been that little bit of if there's somebody dropped from the team sometimes who you think to yourself, well, why the hell are you dropping him? It's Hall. Hall sometimes, you know, is not used as a scapegoat. I can't say that, but you know, he doesn't have concerns about taking Hall out the team like he would other players. But when you look at how good Hall's been at left back this season, I think blaming him for one mistake in a game or having a bad first half and subbing him then not playing him for the next couple of games is a bit of a strange decision. You guys think that, or
Well, he explained himself on that one. He said it was because with Arsenal set pieces he wanted 8.
Yeah, but
it's a
you know,
strange
Eddie Howe's
answer
made
that
a lot-
one win.
Yeah, but
Well, I
hasn't
didn't
Eddie
think
Howe
it was
made a lot?
strange at all. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Has Eddie Howe not made a lot of bad
Perfectly
decisions and a
valid
lot of weird
until
decisions?
such time as that they decided because of what we'd done that we're going to start taking short corners instead, which wasn't.
But it
picked up
wasn't
on.
sorry, Sean, I'll let you come in a sec, but it wasn't perfectly valid. You know, Hall
Was
has had a
perfectly
brilliant
valid.
Hall has had a brilliant season for us,
Correct.
and we've all seen how crap and shite Burns been at left back when he's played forward.
Well,
I'd have no problem at all with him if he'd wanted the height in the team and playing a back three or something like that. But dropping Hall just seemed to be a bad decision to me. Don't know what you felt, Sean.
I said I agree. I think Eddie Howe's made a lot of bad decisions, a lot of technical bad decisions. You know, like he seems to take same players for like off. For me, why do it? If you're getting beat, go for the juggler, go for it. Not, against West Ham, we went 5 at the back. Like, I don't understand. You were 3-1 up.
I got a bit shot. I got a bit shot down on that on Sunday for saying, or yesterday. I was shocked. You went 5 at the back.
Uh-huh.
3-1 up.
You were
Just 'cause
3-1 up.
And one
Yeah,
thought it
yeah.
was obvious that we were going to
We've been
shore
two up
things
quite
up.
a few times in the past.
Yeah, but we've not. I mean, the confidence that the team had for that first hour, and they kept going with it. It's just undermining that. If the manager's suddenly going, "Oh shit, they've scored," they haven't done a bloody thing for the rest of the game, and we're on top. But it's all right because I'm gonna bring 3 on at the back.
If you're
and
asking
just
me if
sit
I
off them
agree
and let
with
them
the
come on to
decision,
us.
no, I don't agree with the decision. But can I understand
Right.
why it was done? Absolutely. When you
I would
consider-
understand. I would understand if they went 3-2. Like, if they scored, then hang on, let's try and defend. But not.
And then
3-1 up.
then the argument then would have been he's just reacting instead of being proactive, preventing them
he's
going
made a-
3-2.
With that win, you're
Made a
arguing that
decision to
point.
continue. I was going to say he would have made a decision to continue to attack, and if he's going to bring a Sula off, he could have put Neve on to see what he could do.
Exactly.
He could have kept things up. Could have kept the energy there. He could have kept the excitement of the crowd there. Instead of which, he's. I mean, I can remember him doing it against Tottenham, didn't he? He took someone off and brought Shah on. We played 5 at the back, and we still conceded that crappy overhead goal.
But second half was just absolutely awful.
Very good at it.
No.
Yeah. But with this as well, he's had Gordon on the bench for the last few games, with obviously no intention whatsoever of bringing him on the pitch. There's been nothing at all. So why not have like the likes of a Park on the bench? Why not have somebody that potentially you could put on and give a chance? But the decision's been to keep Gordon on the bench, who, even when we were behind or we were struggling, didn't get brought on the pitch. There's just something about this that doesn't make sense to me at all. If you're a manager, you want players on the pitch that can play. So there's 2 options here. Either Gordon hasn't been fit, and so he should never be on the pitch, or he shouldn't be on the pitch. He shouldn't be on the bench because he doesn't want to play for Newcastle.
I think
neither of those eventualities, you need to drop him.
I think Gordon's fit. I just don't think he wants. I don't think he wants to pick up a knock. Because if you put Gordon on against West Ham, I think he would have backed out of challenges, or he would have got himself sent off. Because I don't think he wants to lose that move to Bayern Munich.
Well, if they've got it all lined up for him to go to Bayern Munich on the first day the transfer window opens, then you wouldn't play him in case he gets his ankle broken. You wouldn't do it.
But then don't put him on the bench.
Then have him on the bench.
10 minutes. 10 minutes to go. We're still 3-1 ahead. I really didn't need to see Wisser and bloody Elanga come and faff around again. I mean, what did they add? They didn't add anything.
Best player on that pitch was Nick Fowler. He had an outstanding game.
He had a good game, yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you who was great, and I know we're going back to the game now, but we may as well, because Botman, I think, was brilliant in that game. I just thought he was like the old Botman. I know the ball bounced over his head, but looking back at it today, I had another few looks at it, and I don't think you can blame that lad for that. I don't think it was his fault. It was just it was just a brilliant goal.
He was covering Wilson, wasn't he? He was covering Wilson. And Chow was in position to get to Tati, but Tati just took it so early.
But didn't we play 4-2-3-1? Not his 4-3-3.
Well,
it was kind of a hybrid, James. It was. I think it was more 4-4-1.
4-4-2 myself. But
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at and then into 4-4-1-1.
If you go into the the Newcastle United highlights, you'll watch Baltimore and Masula, and they're both around each other up front together. There's not one of them dropping back, so I think it was more 4-4-2, but I don't know what you think, Sean. I don't know if you...
I know on Sky, when I watched on Sky that day, they put it down as 4-2-3-1.
Uh-huh.
And obviously, Nick was behind Osula. I thought that, but like I said, Osula's a good player, but I would like to see him on the wing. See what he's like. He's quick, he's tricky. But, he's done absolutely amazing coming in as a striker at the minute. But I do think maybe giving that a trial, putting Nick in that position and playing that formation
I'd love to see would just keep nicking
He was
Voldemort.
there he was in that position for the first goal, wasn't he?
Aye,
He was in that
absolutely.
position for the first goal. He stepped into it while Asula went to the back post. I think it was a. The thing is that 4-3-3, 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1.
It's gone out. It's gone
I
out the
mean,
way
you've
now.
just got to move one. You've got to move one player 3 or 4 yards, was or forwards or off to the left. They're able to play in all of those different things, and they showed that on Sunday that they were quite fluid with their movement, which was
Yeah.
excellent.
But like
I
4-4-2.
mean, I wanted at half time. I wanted them to mix the front four up completely. Put Asula on the wing, put Valdemar at the 9, Ramsey in the 10, and Barnes over on the left. That would have been
I think the times
a
have gone
shock
though.
for the West Ham players who thought they knew who they were marking.
The big
But
thing with
there
that
you go.
game was we played
Moving on.
square
We won.
pegs and square holes.
Yes.
We didn't sort of piss about
Yeah.
putting players in the wrong
No.
positions. You know, and it just proves to you if you feel comfortable playing football in the position you're playing. I mean, Voldemort looks so much more comfortable in that position with
Absolutely.
having someone around him. It was amazing.
But like 4-4-2 was back. Then it got changed in it by the European football. They bring in a different formation, and it's again 4-3-3 came big, and now this 4-2-3-1's coming massive.
Yeah. The boss is back anyway. We better be quiet.
No. I'm trying to look at my notes here and see what's next. I had an important call. Sorry about that. But anyway, we were talking about the stadium. You guys talking about the team. When is it? Are we boring you, or what are we doing here, man? Are we bothering you too much?
Just same old, same old.
We've had a problem with a stick a couple of times when you were awake, Chris, to keep him awake.
Nobody's bailed you out yet, man. Oh my god,
Nobody.
That's insane, man. That is criminal, man. But listen, that just proves how the people feel about you, man.
Yeah. I'm quite happy sitting to myself.
Well, you know what comes next when the nighttime. You're excited for that.
Yeah.
Don't drop the soap, man. Don't drop the soap. Right on. So I tell you what, let's go with the chat, shall we? I mean, I saw a comment there about biker. So probably some. Oh, there we go. Mick says biker wall is listed. Can't knock that down. Okay. Is it? That's interesting. You guys, what's wrong with you guys, man? You guys list everything, man. I'm with Wayne on this one.
That'll not be there forever. Don't worry about that.
But if it's listed, then you can't do nothing about it, man.
No, I've told you, you can do something about it.
No,
It's got vents and stuff in Baker Wall, mate, that you can get through and everything. And Wayne used to do it and was called Rat Boy when he used to do it.
You have never seen anybody here. Please, chat, help us. When have you seen a listed building go down for footballing reasons? I don't know. I mean, that's...
I think we've got to be proud of all the listed buildings in this country.
Stadiums tend to get built where there are no listed buildings.
I have a feeling, by the way, that a lot of the old stadiums, like Highbury, got knocked down.
Wembley Stadium was listed for starters.
Listed status. Yeah.
Wembley Stadium was? Yeah, but that's...
The old Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, but they didn't have... Yeah, but the building was... I mean, that's not the same, man. You're not jeopardizing something else non-football related for football, is what the point is. So you're still knackered, but it's okay. Guaza, get a moot. Now you flake. There you go. Still by Dad says, it's class as modern architecture. There you go, baby. And we've done
down there.
On the Friday Neat Show, we've talked about the biker wall. Wayne, remember that?
Yeah.
Why? What did we say about the biker wall?
Designed by a Danish guy.
There you go, man. And apparently it was, based on my notes from my research, one of the innovative constructions back in the day. And it was, everything was hunky-dory. And then we show it on TV, and everybody, including you, Win, absolutely demolishing with your words to the biker wall, man. Well, because it's ugly. Because
they moved all of the biker residents out of their slums into places with hot running water, and bathrooms, and
what? This place doesn't have hot water and water.
Inside toilets. No, this place did, and that's the point. But
do you know what's in the middle of the biker wall, Win? What old building they left up?
The wash house.
The wash house, yeah.
Oh man.
Listed building again, Chris.
Listed building again.
What do you have to say to people that tell you when you go to the Toon? Sometimes some people say, "Look, man, Divin go near biker, man." And what do you say to people that tell you that? Ain't not the matter with biker, is there? Win, come on, man.
I don't think there's out the matter with anywhere in Newcastle.
Chris, there was a program out in the Newcastle area about bouncers on doors, so the people who stop people coming into pubs. And Baker had one of them in there, and it was something about a Baker tea cake. Do you remember? Do you remember this? Win?
Hey, where's Marco?
I'll try to see if I can find you the video.
Marco, let us know. I know Marco in the chat is from Walker, actually, which is right next to Biker, right? And so he's not a, but says Biker Wall is a dump. Come on, man.
But when it went up, it was state of the art.
But why is it a dump now? Who let what down, as you guys would say?
When I was little Ginga Borky, me nana every Saturday used to take us up to Baker, and you'd walk down one side of the high street with, and you'd go into the Ritz Cafe. And then she'd take you into Bevan's at the bottom and back up the other side.
Spend that coupons up the parishes, get your parish money.
Hey, exactly. Tracy, people say now people are coming out now, man. Speaking about bike, said, "Well, I was always cautious." Come on, Win. People don't act like it's new, man. People have a preconceived notion about what life in biker is.
People have preconceived notions about far too many things.
So you don't think there's nothing wrong with biker? Anybody can go there with your bear and walk your dog at night at 10 p.m. and there's nothing wrong. Nothing will happen to you.
Can you do that anywhere in the world right now?
Well, I can in my house. I ain't nothing around me. But
it's your bloody ground you're walking around.
No, we have walked. Exactly. Well, you don't walk in, but we have walked in outside in many pubs. Gosford Empire. We walked. We went to the store across Gosford Empire, with them selling them expensive ass cigarettes for no reason. And then we've been around, St. James's Park at night outside of Strawberry. Nothing wrong.
Chris, next time you come across, you need to let me take you out for a night out on Moore's End High Street, and then you'll see the real Northeast. You
can't drink, man.
You see the posh areas.
I can't drink when I want to. That's the difference. That's what Win refuses to believe. Nobody's ever told Win.
Was I saying for those Mackhams amongst us, a wash house is a place where you get washed.
It's that rough, says guys. They don't even let cats out. Wait, come on, man. You can't win. This is part of the Toon, man. You can't let these people talk like that, man.
Is it Darris Hall? No, it's not. Is it Gosford? No, it's not. No matter with it.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Plenty good bars on Shields Road.
No. Bars is a different thing because you're just going out there for a piss. But would you live there?
Oh, I wouldn't have any problem living there.
You want to say the truth, man, but you don't want to. You know inside, you know the truth, man.
Would I choose to live in Baker as opposed to Gosford? No, I wouldn't.
Why? What's the difference? There's no difference according to you.
Just Gosford is nicer.
Oh,
15th anniversary of the Great Fire of Baker. Yeah, never forget.
Come on,
Woodyard,
man.
wasn't it?
People from Biker, we apologize for this. I know you're making it. You're living life the hard way. You
just look at house prices. That'll tell you.
You can't afford to.
There's no need to apologize to people in Biker, Chris. They haven't got Wi-Fi yet, man.
You're out your mind, man.
We got a super chat there. Jordy Dan, 15.
I'm going to be going to town soon, so can I just say I think Baker's a lovely area, and these guys are absolutely terrible about it.
Sean, tell us, man. Tell us about the good.
My daddy said.
You what?
Go on, Sean. Tell us, man. It's a good town. Not the matter with Biker.
Was it Sean?
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
Nothing wrong, baby. Nothing wrong, man.
Nothing.
Win is over here. The thing about Win is he says nothing wrong with it, but I'd rather live in Gosford because it's nicer, because there's proper people there. In Biker, you got the slums and all that. You ain't got to do all that, man.
Chris,
disrespectful to the people, man.
Win doesn't think the people of Baker are proper Newcastle fans either.
They can't make it to the game. They can't make it to the game.
People of Baker get it.
They can't make it to the game. Jordy Dan, 15th anniversary of the Great Fire of Biker. Never forget. There you go. Was there a Great Fire in Biker? Well, there you go, man. So, what happened? We got about 5-10 minutes left, man. So let's talk about anything else than football.
Woodyard next to Dallas Carpets went up on fire, I think.
Yeah, and that was how close to the Biker wall?
Not too far, about quarter of a mile. If
that looks like St. Louis, man. That's the St. Louis art.
That's the Millennium Bridge. That's the fire seen from.
Oh, you can see that. You can see that from there. Wow.
Yeah. It was Shepherd's Scrapyard.
It was the wood yard.
Well, no, man, it was the wood yard. It wasn't Shepherd's Scrapyard. It was the one at the bottom of the. Do you know when you've got the
how can
where Dallas Carpets is?
Shepherd's Scrapyard cannot go on fire because it's metal.
Shepherd's Scrapyard.
No.
Shepherd's Scrapyard was up the other side. No, it was where the wood yard is down the bottom where after Dallas Carpets.
Come on, man.
Dallas Carpets is right next door to Shepherd's.
When have you ever seen metal go in flames, man? What's wrong with you?
Well, it's not. They don't just have metal. Metal surrounded by car upholstery and God knows what.
Can the guys in the chat just pay a correct win?
Tires,
exactly.
Tires.
Okay,
I got knows about tires. It's me, and I can tell you it was a wood yard that went up on fire.
It might have been a wood fire that started it.
Nah, well, it wasn't metal. I know that.
Still bad, Dad. Well done, mate.
So, let me see here. I was trying to look it up, and no, it's got the no. Never mind. Is it the Great? What was the name of it? The Great Fire? Is that what it is?
Baker.
Okay, so we're going to do this. Let's see. I'll look it up. Oh, there's this. Well, we'll see. Biker scrapyard fire remembered. So people affected by the massive scrapyard earlier this year. Well, this was when it happened, I guess. 2011. Yeah, 2011. Let's see here. Bringing the blaze at the Ward Brothers yard. So who's that? It didn't got nothing to do with Shepherd.
So it's right next door to Shepherd. There's a whole host of scrap metal yards there, man.
So, but it says dozens of firefighters spent hours bringing the blaze at Ward Brothers yard. So you can't, if they would have just said the whole entire area. No, they say Ward Brothers. What did the Ward Brothers own? You ain't got
always been a scrapyard here, so it's just the norm to us.
I've seen the lorries with Ward Brothers on.
Yeah, but anyway, so hazardous material scrapyard was one of a number in the northeast of England around the county in recent months. The biker scrapyard fire. Steve Wilkes, senior lecturer, safety. Well, anyway, yeah, but it was big. But so, did people die? I'm assuming. I don't know. Scrap. When was it?
Nah, it was just a fire. I don't think anybody died or anything.
Oh man, what the hell, man? Why are we getting all sad for them and playing the violins? Come on, man.
It wasn't Mount St. Helens. Let's just put it that way.
Right. Man, you guys,
nobody. California wildfires.
To be fair, if you have a fire in Baker, it normally does about £2 million worth of improvements to the area. So
there you go.
There you are. That's the actual fire. You see those advertising hoardings? That's Shepherd's Scrapyard.
That don't look like that big of a fire, by the way. I don't know, man. Okay.
And there's the fire. It's not actually. It didn't start in their premises because all of these buildings on the right down onto City Road into Holt's Yard are all scrapyards.
Hey, by the way, and Sean says it's a wood yard caught fire. By the way, Wayne. So
yeah,
just let you know.
That may be where it's not. That wasn't. That was
wait a minute. There. So you believe Sean? I mean, sorry. Yeah, Sean still by that and not Boki. That's crazy, man. I don't understand that part. By the way, you knackered your share screen. Good job for knackering. Anyway, he also said Sean wouldn't last three minutes inside the wall. Fact. Oh, Sean, don't let them people talk to you.
Hey,
tell him, man.
Sean's from concert folk can handle ourselves.
Yeah, man.
It's rough up here.
It's rough over there, man. It's rough.
I'd rather live in Baker than concert.
I'd rather live in Baker. Yeah.
Really? Oh, wait. Conte is for real? They got tough people in there? Like me, tougher than a 2-pound steak?
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. I didn't know that. I thought Conte sounds posh. I didn't know that, man.
Oh.
Give me the roughest towns in Newcastle. Biker concert, according to you.
Well, concerts Durham.
I was going to say, for me, I used to work for a
Right
building
up through
company
the
around
West
like
End.
the northeast.
Well, I mean
The
Newcastle.
worst-
You know, I meant the whole thing.
Yeah,
Like
the worst place I ever went was Durham. Not the city centre. It's beautiful in the city centre, but as soon as you get on the outskirts, it's bloody rough as hell.
The pit villages are
Yeah.
weird.
No, but I'm talking about like proper rough. Like you wouldn't take a tourist over there. A place,
Well,
the
if you
number
go-
one place.
If you go down to Middlesbrough, Hartlepool and stuff like that, you're talking about like on the back. We have back lanes and Chris, and sort of the back lanes have got metal gates on, so people can't get up and down them. You know, it's that bad. So I would say probably down. I hate to say this, but the smoggy area is probably the worst in the northeast.
No, but
you
but
class
not
them as
northeast.
northeast.
No, not northeast. I'm talking about Newcastle upon Tyne. I want to know Newcastle. I stay away from that part.
Gosforth and around Wynn's house. You didn't want to be around
Hey,
there.
Hey, no, Gosforth, where Wynn lives, he can't live. A couple of feet from a school, from a play yard, from a park or anything like that. So it's proper rough. No, but God, that's a good one. But hey, actually, Boki,
Coming
some
soon,
people
the great fire of Leazes Terrace.
This is actually, some people have told me the same about Blythe. By the way. Ooh.
Oh, Blythe's a shithole, but I'm not from here, so I don't care saying that.
No, but people, Andy Bell, man, Christina don't even look like she would live in a rough place, man. Come on.
Christina lives in the posh area. She lives up like the sort of like I was going to say a nicer.
Oh
bit,
no,
but
actually,
like a nice bit.
There was a thing about Lewis Miley says that he grew up in a rough area of Stanley.
Yeah, Stanley's right
Like,
next
it's
to
just-
concert.
Well, that's
Stanley,
next door to concert.
That's right next to
Ooh,
concert. Yeah.
so Stanley is proper rough then, because they would always joke like, yeah, he came from a rough, he can handle himself, he's from Stanley, blah blah blah. So I guess that's interesting. When you wouldn't last 2 seconds in my world, man, I'm telling you wouldn't last 2 seconds in concert, man. You just stay up there, low Gosford,
I would
you
last a
can
lot
walk
longer in
around.
Missouri than I would in concert.
Do you know what the funny thing is?
First of all,
Chris,
you
if
get.
you're
Go
if
on.
you're from an area up here, it's not as rough as people think. So the likes of
Exactly.
I'm from Wallsend, so if I walk up and down Wallsend High Street, I know about 50% of the people.
Exactly.
So you know,
Well, by the way,
you saw but if you're a stranger, you didn't want to be there. It's the top and bottom of it.
I've heard what Sean is there in the chat says about Blythe. It was the capital of the Northeast, a certain type of capital. So back in
I've
the
never heard
80s.
that before.
You see, no, I've heard that 1,000 times. So Wynn is saying that that's not a thing. Wynn, that's when you were Scottish, man. That's when you didn't care about Newcastle.
To
Before
be
the
fair, how do you
takeover.
think I get through the shows where I'm working with Win?
Oh, there you go. We've seen you a couple of times. We know what you've been on. But no, I mean, but they said back in the 80s you couldn't even get near Blythe.
No, it was terrible Blythe for
Wait, why you always gotta go against the grain?
Chris,
man?
Chris,
Just for doing it.
All I'm saying is that
tell me exactly why.
Yeah, I can't help it if I've never heard that.
It's a port town, and the drugs used to come in here. Well, come in around this area as well. It was always known as a drug capital in the 80s, 90s. When it's got better now. It's not like that now.
I've never been attracted to that scene at all. So
Well, it doesn't matter because if you're living in an area or you live in Newcastle, you know, stay away to hell from.
Well,
from
why
Blythe.
would I?
Because you go in there, you know, it's rough, man.
Well, I didn't
Come
think
on.
Blythe was particularly rough.
Well, again, you weren't living in Newcastle at the time, so
Come down
I
and
think
buy you a couple of pints.
I'm just saying, man.
To be honest, if you're going anywhere, you go anywhere with the wrong attitude, you can find out
You
that
fucked
it
it.
could be rough.
Yeah.
You can get
No, but
kicked
one
in
thing
Hexham, get
before-
beaten up in Roland's Gill. You've just got to open your mouth the wrong way to the wrong person.
Oh, Burnip
You know,
Field, there's
in the
another
same
one.
way as if-
No,
there's
the
one.
first
go
time I
for
went to Newcastle, we walked in the city center around a park. That man, these people look rough as, like I'm telling you, rough as sandpaper, man. And they were they were asking stuff, you know, they look rough. So
That was
what
Leazes
part
Park.
would that be? No, that wasn't Leazes Park. That wasn't I'm not talking about the guy you denied a cigarette to. I'm talking about the guy you told off to ask a cigarette. I'm talking about in the city. It was by the Grace Monument. It was by Grace Monument. We kept walking and walking and walking. Somewhere around there. No, not a park, man. We were just walking through, and it was a little dodgy area where there was just a lot of people.
No, that was Northumberland Street, man. There was a couple of rough sleepers in Eldon Square doorway.
Let's talk about the first time I went to Newcastle, and they started approaching and not the second time. So I didn't know. The second time we didn't go through it, so I couldn't remember. That's one thing that I wanted to bring up. Well, you're knackered. You don't remember. But the green says still bad dad. Maybe that, I don't know. But yeah, it was a bit rough. But really, anywhere in Newcastle, you can just walk around, can't you? My point is not about opening your mouth, Ian. My point is about, like, you got to stay away because you're going to get robbed, mugged. You're going to get your phone taken. Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna see people dealing drugs.
That's me on Shields Road for sure.
Biker, we're back at Biker again. Come on, win.
Does anybody know? Does anybody know anybody who's had their mobile stolen or
in
had a knife incident?
In London or Peru, one of the two.
No, can I just ask Jody Dan quickly in the chat? Do you ever go to the tavern, mate? Do you get there? Because I get in there in Howden. Sorry,
isn't that Mackham? Isn't that Mackham Land?
No, Howden's Wall's End.
No, I thought there was a Houghton or Houghton or something like that.
The tavern on Churchill Street.
No, yeah,
Rose Hill Tavern.
That's where Sheila's from. She was a little Mackham when she was born.
Houghtonley Springs.
Houghtonley Springs, where Sheila's from.
Yeah.
No, it's exactly. So a man stabbed in my street last year, Tracy. It says Tracy. There you go, man. Win, you live so oblivious to what's going on around you, man. It's insane, man. You better watch out who you talk to, man, because I'm telling you, you about to go and kiss the ground.
I don't have any problems talking to anybody.
Look, Michael says I've been threatened with a knife in town. To be fair, outside Spot White at 3 a.m. though. Well.
Oh, well, 3 a.m.
Michael's just got one of those faces.
How can you want to threaten Michael? Michael literally has got, you want to grab his chickens, you got, you little thing, go back home. Why would you want to threaten? If you threaten him with a knife, you know you're knackered. In the area is when I'm telling you, man, you better be careful when you're walking around.
I'm perfectly safe.
I think Michael's a bit like me, and he could get threatened by an eyebrow. Yeah. Rather than a knife. You don't need a knife to threaten me. No, just give us a nasty look.
What about before we go? We don't talk much about North Shields. We usually have a guy call from North Shields. Are we good in North Shields? Is not the matter.
North Shields is up and coming, shall we say?
I used to drink.
That's where Supermac lives.
Ballarat. Yeah, he does.
Colin Campbell. All the old like the Albert along the main high street there. It used to be as rough as hell down there. It was absolutely terrible. Obviously, just along the road from me, when it used to be rough as hell. As you see it now, you go in and it's like all bloody wine bars and everything.
Well,
you're like, what the hell's happening here?
Developed all the dry docks when all the shipyards closed down. All the dry docks were developed into.
What about the heat? What about the heat, baby? Are we good in the heat?
There you go now.
So you ain't got that. You got nothing.
Don't go to teams.
So you're talking about Gateshead is knackered, and you wouldn't say that about Biker.
Well, it's parts of Gateshead, Lowfells.
Well, we remember what was the place that we was at Gateshead that we went to looking for a kebab late at night with your son's Flintstone car. We had to break. We had to.
No, that was the West End.
Hey, Chris Platten, man, come on, man. Oh, he upgraded though. He upgraded, didn't he? But come on, man.
Got his new cash guy, no.
I mean, you can't. It was long overdue, man. He was driving that Flintstone car, man. You had to run and stop. Like, come on, man. It's not necessary. And he took me to the Angel of the North like that. Lord have mercy. Anyway, but so you're saying Gateshead is knackered?
Parts of it. Same as anywhere else, man. That's good.
No, but where did we go try to go for a kebab late at night? Well, I thought it was Gateshead.
That was literally the West End, but by Brighton.
Oh,
Road.
That's where Wazza's from. No wonder, man.
Yeah.
No wonder.
We are knackered.
There you go. That's the knackered place. Anyways, Thank you very much for joining. Listen, we're having a good conversation about the town. Not the matter with that. And one place we'll never go to is York. Man, I heard some rough people in York, man. They got a delay. They freeze. They're quiet. Yeah, we'll never go there. I love it, man.
Did you see that? Or was it too delayed for you?
Swivel.
No. We finally got it. There you go. Now it rang with Gateshead, says Brian.
No rang. Aye. Well, that's as long as you know where you're going. If you're in Deckham and your car's broken down, and it's midnight, I would. Yeah.
Ooh, you better be running.
I'll be on the phone to try and get someone to help me.
I think what we need to do is put introduction music on for Ian as well. Maybe a little bit of Last of the Summer Wine. Or, you know, that Yorkshire sort of music.
Hey, 76 Nelly says, response to Brian, now read with it either. I like that. I like that comeback, baby. We got to do more of these talks. But anyway, we got to go. Thank you very much. We'll be back again tomorrow, Wednesday, with the latest trending topics surrounding Newcastle United and maybe a little color talk at the end about the town. How you diminish towns in Newcastle, fans of Newcastle United? You might as well you're in America. You're an American yourself in the heart, man. Yep. I'm telling you.
A guy that's lived in Newcastle.
Well, I've said a million times.
The pedestrian tunnel disgusted me.
I've said a million times. I'd rather be in the 51st state of America than the 27th state of Europe.
Proves that we're wangers.
I mean, that is crazy. He doesn't get it, folks. Anyways,
and we'll just sign off tonight in recognition of all of our international fans with good night and vamos les hombres.
There you go. Vamos los
hombres.
Like that.
Say it like that. Vamos los hombres. Los, man. Los. L-O-S. Los hombres. See you later, folks. Take care.
Ta-da.